kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy
They
there.
got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
This is the next search on February 28, 2020, 7:44 p.m. How, does the FBI find people, and people is misspelled P-E-O-O-P-L-E. Did the defendant find out how the FBI finds people in this case? Oh, she found out.
Scratch all that. Oh, that was terrible. I apologize.
Test 1, 2. You can hear me now? You can hear me now. It's working. It's working. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm the guy. Here we go. Welcome. Happy Friday. We made it all the way to the weekend. I've got to do a couple things really quick because I'm running out of time. First of all, I know it's out of order. But I've got to do this. Kathy Ryan, welcome to the gallery. Thank you so much. Becky Lou, also new continued membership. Thank you so much. Green Courthouse by your name. Thank you for your continued support. Anna, also, let's go. Happy Friday, everyone in my favorite community. So glad I found my way here. Thank you, Anna, as well. Now, we have before we go too far, Ashley, you're first in chat again. We've talked about this. First in chat has a penalty, a punishment, prize, depending on how you look at it. I'm going to have to sentence you with internet ownership for the rest of the day and maintaining everything IP related worldwide. It falls on your shoulders, or at least until we go live again after lunch. So Ashley, that is your crime. It's your crime. It's your punishment. I, unfortunately for you, I'm the judge, juror, and executioner of the sentence. I'm not like executioner, chop. That's just morbid. We can't go there right away. Anyway, so Ashley, thank you for being first in chat, though. Somebody has to do it, and today that was you. I appreciate that. Holly Mack made it to 6 months. Thanks for the exciting ride. I'm just looking here. If any of you out there are looking at your name and saying, "Well, it was gray before, but now it's green," what happened? Arbauer 25 happened. Oh, there's a buffer sound. What did I miss? Yep. Okay. Oh, birthdays. Lots of them. Okay. Arbauer 25, who, if I'm not mistaken, Arbauer 25, I think he joined us during the Cavalcante manhunt, if I remember correctly. Wonderful. Generous donation there. 50 memberships. Thank you so much. If you haven't turned on your gift memberships setting, now's a good time to remember to do that. We do have an incredibly generous community here, and it's I can't thank you enough. That is amazing. That is huge. It's not just big for us, but big for everyone who participates here on the channel. Arbauer, thank you so much. Buffer, fun and funky, birthday today. Not going to be here. We're going to sing anyway. I might get it on the replay. Debbie Blair, Red Pen's dog Guffy, who is 6. Becky Lou, birthday tomorrow, so we'll sing today. And Kristen Bell's grandson Braden is tomorrow. Okay, wow. Okay, so I have to sort of parse this down. So we're gonna say we have. Oops. There we go. Okay, we have fun and funky. Debbie Blair. With a B. There we go, Debbie Blair. Guffy. Need to cut out the names that I can't sing to here. Becky Lou. And Braden. Look at that name. Braden. Okay. We've got it. You got me hooked on this case. I'm sorry. Say my name. I'm sorry. It's been amazing. Let's see. Becky Lou. I see you there. Happy birthday, by the way. We're going to sing to you in just a minute. Everyone is actually going to sing to you because that's what we do. I like to think that I'm leading the largest choir, geographically speaking, in the world when I sing to you guys, and I'm really hoping that's the case, because if it was just me singing by myself, I would be totally embarrassed, totally. I missed Lois. Lois Cox. Here we go. Also on the list. Boo, you missed my name. Haley's Comet. I missed your name. No, Haley's Comet. Did I miss a message, or I'm looking. I thought I grabbed all of them because they were disappearing so quickly. Or was it a birthday? Will you be talking about the Maya motion? We've only got half an hour before court starts, but there's a few things to talk about. First of all, there was a very boring police chase last night that ended with a dog bite, and I don't think the dog was supposed to bite. But it's a very boring chase. There's nothing really interesting that happened during it. An incredible interview yesterday with Dr. Joe Corcoran and Greg Anderson, which was just amazing. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And during the interview, they talked about this latest motion that I think if you told me that there were attorneys out there that that participated in I don't know, using hallucinogenic substances to gather ideas for motions, I would not have. If you told me that was a setting, I would not have dreamed that they would have come up with something like this. It is so bizarre in my mind that it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. If they're analyzing handwriting and saying, if you look at it in the right light, if you squint, I'll tell you a story. Okay, I'll tell you a story just briefly, and then let's sing Happy Birthday. Don't let me forget the story. Okay, it has to do with letters. Say, make sure you tell the letter story. Okay. Let's see. Who was I saying I had missed? Who had I missed? Let's see. Is there another? It's Colette's birthday too. Okay. Don't let me forget the letter story. It's Haley's Comet's birthday. Oh my goodness. This is going to be a two-verser for sure. And remember, we have that little interlude in the middle. Crazy Cat Queen says, now I get what the buffer sound is about. Okay, and the car got away. I think a cop hopped in at the last minute and drove it away to clear the freeway, but it was a funny little chase. Okay, so did I miss anybody? Let me go over the birthday list. Let's do birthday list first, because that's important. This is their special day, and we don't want to mess this up. I have Fun and Funky, Debbie Blair, Guffey, Becky Lou, Braden, Lois Cox, Colette, and Haley's Comet. Is that right? Can somebody give me a thumbs up, thumbs down? Is there anyone who I need to put on the list that I have not? Dr. Joe did an amazing interview. It was so good. Okay. Holy birthdays. Happy birthday, everyone, literally. Merry Christmas, everyone. Let's see. I think that's it. I think that's everything. I love telling dad jokes, and he even laughs. Sometimes he even laughs. Yes. Greeners, by the way, thanks for all the documents you've been sending me. I haven't been responding to everyone. But let's go ahead and sing. I think I've got the full list of everybody. We're going to do two verses. Fun and Funky, Debbie Blair, Guffey, and Becky Lou. And then Braden, Lois Cox, Colette, and Haley's Comet. Does that work? You guys got that down? Everyone warmed up? La, 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 la. There we go. Here we go. Who's got the high part? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Fun and Funky, Debbie Bear, Fluffy, and Becky Lou. Happy birthday to you. Okay, I need a little louder from the altos on this next verse. Remember, we've got Braden, Lois Cox, Colette, and Haley's Comet. And make sure you're blending with your neighbor. I need full voices. Project to the back of the room. Let's finish big. Ready? Everybody, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Braden, Lois Cox, Colette, and Haley's Comet. Happy birthday to you. That might have been our best one ever. We've got the cha-cha-chas happening. We've got the la-la-la-las going in the background. It is wonderful. And I can hear the party horns over everything. Yes, I hope you all, everybody, which it seems like everybody except for just a couple of us are celebrating their birthday today. But for those who are celebrating their birthday, thank you for being here with us today. This is your special day. If there's anything we can do to make it better, other than sing to you in the amazing fashion which we did, please let us know. Thank you very much. We were all perfectly in sync. I think it was a 10 out of 10. I heard you, Sophia. I heard you loud and clear. It was beautiful. Perfect pitch as well. I'm impressed. All right, here we go. We have a couple things to talk about. And by the way, get free pancakes. Everyone, go to Denny's. Tell them I said it was okay. All right, letter story. Do you sing this in your sleep? I sing this to wake up. I sing it to go to sleep. It's the best song ever. Because someone's always happy when you're singing it. All right, let's turn this down just a little bit. Thank you. Slow fade. There it goes. Okay, now it's gone. Letter story. Don't forget the letter story. Okay. Quick letter story. We're going to keep an eye on court. Let me get that ready so we don't miss anything that happens today. And then I've got some other things. Full disclosure, pants are off. No Pants Friday today. Congratulations, everyone. It's a little breezy. You might want to get a little blanket and a shawl or something to wrap up. But it is No Pants Friday. Rosie, welcome to the gallery. Thank you very much. 6 months. You just got a yellow courthouse. Congratulations.
I'm not a camel.
That's awesome. I'm not a camel either. We have letter story. We've got J Hatch attorneys who just went to Judge Carroll with something that he's got to be scratching his head and he's like, is this a prank? Is this a prank? Or did somebody spoof the lawyer's email address and send this to me as a joke? Because they literally have filed a motion objecting to the fact that juror number 1, when he writes his S's for Sally Smith, if you look at him right and squint, hold the paper in the right direction, it can sort of be reminiscent of a symbol that was used by the SS in the Nazis. And clearly this is a dog whistle to get everyone to... What? I mean, seriously, what? This is crazy. This is crazy. I mean, because you've got to think that this is how he's getting his message out, right? By writing a note that none of the other jurors will see and sending it to the judge to be locked up and sealed until the court case is over. This is the way he raises the flag. Hello, who's speaking? Somebody's calling me. Why is my answer machine on in this room? I'd say he's a Kiss fan, says Mixie. Yeah, he's a Kiss fan. That's all it is. He's but wow. It's crazy. I don't know. We might read this. I know Dr. Joe into this with Greg Anderson, and I don't think there's anyone better to go into this with. But we might go into that if we have a break, if we have something to review. But just my head is still spinning, and I'm thinking if this is all they've got, if this is what they have, they better start writing a check. Okay, I just start writing zeros. We'll tell you when to stop. Okay, you're going to get there eventually. Don't worry, this will be over at some point. But yeah, it's crazy. It's a short, sweet motion, and I think it will get the attention it deserves. I think legally it has to be filed, but it might want to be filed in the circular bin. Talking about that, I will tell you today. I am wearing. Wait for it. I'll figure this out. Hang on. I'm wearing my Matthew Harris law shirt that says, "Everything I know about law, I learned from Matthew Harris Law." Matthew Harris. A big shout out to Matthew Harris. Yesterday he dropped a video which I finally got to watch all of, and it is amazing. It is amazing, and because he gave unconditional permission for me to use for infinity, I think we're going to show it at the beginning of our next trial, because his video he dropped yesterday is a primer to watching true crime. And occasionally we get people who join us from a police chase, right? Or from a manhunt, or from a news story, or from a filing, and the court system, watching court, is new to them. And this isn't a fault on them. They just haven't been exposed to this before, and they find it, and generally they're like, wow, this is cool. What is happening, right? His video is perfect. It goes over everything. It's so clear. It's so understandable. It's amazing. It's amazing. And for some reason, only like a couple hundred people have watched it. So we need to get the number sky high. But then I also want to use it in perpetuity. In perpetuity. Is that the right word, Becca? In perpetuity, to infinity and beyond. Crazy Cat Queen. Yes. It is a perfect video primer. Matthew Harris is a lawyer. He's a friend of the channel. He's been with the channel since very, very early on. And he produces YouTube content, video content. He originally started making these videos so that he wouldn't have to repeat himself on billable hours to his clients, right? So he's like, look, I could either sit down and explain it to you, or I could just have you watch the video and you don't have to bill me. You know, I don't have to bill you the $300 an hour to tell you something that you could learn on your own, or I could explain to you in a video. So he put this all together, and it became a YouTube channel that's expanded beyond just what his clientele needs. And so he answers a lot of questions. I'm such a proud kindergartner showing off my shirt. And these are my fast shoes too. Look how fast I can run. He put together these videos, and every Thursday he drops a new video. This one it's like 10 minutes long, and it is amazing. It is amazing. It covers just everything that happens to the evidence, direct, indirect, as far as circumstantial evidence, and it gives examples of it. It covers everything that happens as far as objections, and how the objection sounds, and why you would raise the objection, and what it means, and what it's just, you watch this video and you sit down in court and you're like, I could probably pass the bar exam first try. Watch this video one more time and I'll be good. It is so good, Matthew. That is amazing content, and I can't wait to share that with people. So that told, we have 10 minutes before and I have 10 minutes to tell the letter story. We have I'm not sure. I shouldn't have said I was going to tell the story, but now I'm stuck. I have to tell it. Okay, so J. Hatch attorneys are complaining about letters. They're trying to read something into a note. Let me tell you where you can read something into a note. When I was a kid, this predates my tree story, but it has two common elements, meaning common letters. I did not like math. And it goes back to a teacher that hated me for some reason because of a school team I supported. She literally pulled me out in the hall and told me, I hate your shirt. And it was like, I'm in 7th grade. Okay. I'm scared to be there. And the teacher it was bad. Long story. She got fired, lost her teaching license. She'll never teach again. Different math teacher later on, high school. I think I'm a sophomore, and I'm in this, and of course I'm like a year behind where I should be in math. So I'm taking like, I don't know, geometry or something in high school, and my teacher, I hated it. I hated doing the homework, and so I wouldn't do it, and she would always pick on me in class because I was, and she'd just like make fun of me in class, and it wasn't because I was stupid. And she kept giving out prizes. She kept giving out like a candy bar to the person who got the high score on the test every week, but she hated me. And so I'd sit there in class and I'd look at her like this. Now, hopefully you can see this. Okay, I'd look at her like this throughout the whole day, and I can hold my eyes in a cross position all day long. It's a gift. What can I say? It's a talent I have. It's not useful for anything other than looking at the magic picture images that pop out in 3D. But so I would sit there and I'd follow her around the room, and she would be so frustrated because I was looking at her, but I was not looking at her. I was not paying attention. And she'd be like, Scott, is there something wrong with your eyes? I'm like, no, is there something wrong with yours? And she was so mad. She'd be like, "Arr." She's just like, didn't have, anyway. So we do this. And I think, you know what? One way I can get it back at this teacher, and I was sort of getting back at her because of the other teacher, and I have issues. I probably need a psychiatrist. But I said, you know what I can do? I can just ace the test, and then she has to give me the candy bar, and that would make her madder than anything. And so I did. And guess what? Guess what policy changed that week? You can bet. Guess what? They no longer gave away candy bars for the high score on the test. And I'm like, all right, okay, two can play at that game. So on the next test, it was multiple choice, by the way. I love multiple choice math games because you can win so easily. So on the next test, I circled letters, but not the letters you're supposed to circle. I circled letters in the question, and I circled a capital F and a capital U. Next day, I found myself in the principal's office with the principal on the phone with my mom saying, your son has been doing some inappropriate things in class. And she's like, what's going on? Well, I've got a copy of this test, and he's been circling letters. And she's like, isn't that what he's supposed to do? And she's like, well, yeah, but he's circling letters in the questions. And she's like, look, I'm busy. If there's a problem, can you call me back? But so far I haven't heard anything. And I'm dying. I'm sitting in the office and I can hear this as he's trying to, he's circled two letters, and up here he's circled an F, and then on here he's circled a U. And she's like, and my mom has no idea what that means. And she's like, well, it's F U. And I'm dying laughing. And my mom's like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. What is the issue here? What are you calling about? He's like, well, if you take the letters and you put them together, it could be an acronym for an offensive saying. And she's like, look, call me back if there's trouble. But until then, get him back to class. He's got my full support. And I'm just grinning from ear to ear. Anyway, that was one case where you could read into what the letters were on a paper. Because I knew what I was doing when I circled F and U, and the teacher, oh my goodness, she hated it. She retired the next year. She couldn't take it. The stress of teaching was too much. So there we go. That's story time for today. And with that, we're getting ready to return to court. So give me just a second. Troublemaker from the womb. Pretty much. Yeah. I made her retire. I can't even remember her name. I will tell you with this much, and this.
Is that correct?
I broke the math teacher. This was like the most symbolic thing that was so much her. This epitomized her. On the wall, square center above, where she puts posters on the wall. She has a big poster that says, "When I want your opinion, I'll give it to you." That was it. So I guess she got the last laugh because in that class I got an F and a U, F for the grade, U for the citizenship, and I had to make it up in summer school. But that's the end of that story, so I'm glad I could share that one with you. All right. Anyway, that's my letter story. Yeah, I haven't told a story in a long time, so I figured I'd go there. All right. I was trouble with the capital T. Oh, so much so. Yes. All right. Is she in chat? I don't know where she is. I did not keep up with her at all. That was the last I saw of her, but she did retire the next year. Teenagers, right? Lily Wayne. Some kids, some parents, children. Were you kind of bad in school? No, I wasn't the bad kid. I'll tell you more stories later, but I really wasn't. I just couldn't be bothered in some cases. So I just flew by, bumping along the bottom by the skin of my teeth. Graduated thanks to night school and summer school, and then got to college and got pretty much straight A's and won the writing competitions and had an amazing time. College was great. High school was not fun for me. All right. Yeah. Who says I can tell you're sorry? That remorse is just dripping, is dripping from my my tongue, just dripping. You can hear it. All right. Now you know more about me than anyone else. I was bored, Karen. I really was. It didn't fit my learning style at all. What's on your T-shirt? Hey, Joe, this is a shirt from Matthew Harris Law. He sent it to me himself. It's awesome. It says, everything I know about law, I learned from Matthew Harris Law. Matthew Harris is a good friend of the program. He's a moderator on our channel, and he's a lawyer out of Texas and a YouTuber. And he put out an amazing video yesterday that included a shout out to us, which he did so well, and he gave me permission to use it forever. So if you want to check it out, I highly recommend you follow his channel. He does some great stuff. He happens to be the best dressed lawyer on YouTube, and so you'll see that if you go to his channel. All right, let me show you where we are court-wise. Let's go back to. Let's find our way around. Oh, another story, by the way. No, this is a little bit sadder story. There's court. Okay, nothing's happening yet. We've had a tragedy in the family, and I'm sorry, you guys. This is actually really sad. Yesterday, the family was all out in the Airbnb, having just like a fun time watching a funny little movie together, and my iPad, which does the. Can you guys see that? Which does the counter, the objection counter, sustained a direct blow when it was on the ground. And now it has this cool little design, and little pieces of glass periodically shoot out from a spiderweb section. It died, but it still works right now. So I'm able to turn it on just enough to tell you that we currently have 13 objections. 13. But I need to change my objection view. So I've got a new program, new software that we're going to bring in to count the objections. And the good news is the new objection counter can count multiple things at the same time. So we can count curse words and objections, or we can count prosecution objections and defense objections. And it's early enough in the trial that I think some of you might be able to help me set that up, maybe, by giving me a count. If we want to count cursey words, we can do that. If we want to count who's objecting more, we can do that. If we want to count who wins the objections more, we can do that. I'd rather not count everything, though, because if I count everything, the whole bottom of the screen will just be filled with counters, and it might be a little much. What age did you grow up? Still haven't. Don't plan on it either, Greeners. All right, half your picture is gone.
Is that correct?
Which half? Lisa, which half? What are you talking about? Count pen clicks. No. That would drive me nuts.
Scratch all that. Oh, that was terrible. I apologize.
Laura77 says, thank you, Ari, for making me smile. This community has helped me during a very difficult week. Laura77, big virtual hug. Hopefully we can get you through this and up and beyond. All good stuff starting next week. How about that? The audacity. That would be a good counter. It was the old iPad. Brianna, I'm sorry if I led you guys down that path. I have not seen the cat this morning, but I think it's fine. It was fine last night. I vote who wins objections. Would we rather have, because right now we have that count. Right now it's 10-2, right? 10 objections won by the prosecution and 10 objections won by the defense. Count expressions from the state. That's just like a click. Refurbed iPads on Amazon are reasonable. I think we're going to change the system around. Let me actually show you what I've got. And you tell me. Let's see, that's coming out on camera 7. Let me see if I can, oh, please work. I can't make it full screen, that's right. I have to manually make it full screen. And I'm planning on paying for this service to give me some more functionality, but right now it sort of is what it is. So give me just a second to build this, and I'll show you what it looks like. Let's go super source. Box source 1 is 7. And then we need to move it around. Okay, hold on. It's going to take just a second here. We'll keep an eye on court. Crop the top down. Crop the bottom down a little. Bring in the left. Bring in the right. Make it bigger. You guys can't see this, but I'm actually working here in the background. I'm not just talking to myself. And let's put it back down where it goes. Okay, so tell me, is this first of all, is this too small? If we have, it does look a little small. Because the way my counter works. So we have defense objections 2 that they've won, and prosecution objections 10, and I can just click the plus button or the minus button. I'll judge us back, so we have to hurry and decide. There's 11, 12, 10, 9. Can we live with that for a little while? Is that? I'll have to make it better. Maybe get rid of the cursey counter. Let's turn that off.
Bring the jury.
Good morning, Your Honor. Welcome. Melissa Ward, welcome to the gallery. Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to our fun little group. Can see on my TV, not on my phone. Okay, let me see if I can. I'll do some changes here live.
Where's Attorney Tucker?
Where's
Okay.
Where's Attorney Tucker? Again? Big Mike, this was an old iPad. Let me carefully check and see what version it is. This is probably the oldest iPad. There's some things that can't download anymore because you just can't update it anymore. This is an iPad 8. iPad 8, 5th generation. It served us well. It really did. So it's due to be retired. All right, there's our defendant. There's Hannah Payne. I'd say that looks almost festive, the outfit with the green and gold. And there's Attorney Tucker. He's like, what? Why are you looking at me like I'm late or something? I'm here. Not sure green's her color. I think she looks pretty good.
It's my information that all the technical challenges have been worked out, but I guess we will see.
We will see.
Okay.
I have his cell phone number in case something goes awry. We've been in here testing. When we republish any of the 911 calls, we're going to have to do it from our computer, but using those speakers. The overhead system just isn't loud.
Okay.
But the document camera is working, and we can display photographs.
Okay. All right. So do you intend to republish at this point, or you'll let me know at what point you will republish?
I will let you know, Judge.
Okay.
Do the medical examiner first.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So I'm going to bring the jurors in at this time. Okay. Thank you, Bailiff Innes.
Judge, while they're coming in, can we approach just briefly?
Certainly.
Quick approach this morning. We've got some issues.
On, off.
All right. Let me see if we can get everything right. Okay. All right, we are ready. I'm interested to know who the gentleman is right there in back. He positioned himself in the middle, almost as to be an observer and not on either side. But he's been there every day. I wonder if he's a court watcher or an interested party. Tina, you're not going to be disappointed. It is so yummy. It is so good. I'm gonna keep working on the counter here. I've got a Christmas theme behind it, but that might not be
You may be
the best
seated.
move.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Hope that you're well this morning and that you got some rest last night and that you're prepared to hear another day of evidence. And so at this time, I'm going to ask the state to call its next witness.
The state calls Dr. Stacey Desamore.
It's awfully quiet this morning. Sorry, guys. I'm working here, just off screen.
Okay, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm the testimony that you will provide to this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Would you have a seat and pull yourself up to the microphone?
And the feedback is worse today than it was yesterday. If anyone can get me the actual frequency of that resonance, I'll tune it out.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Stacey Desamore, spelled S-T-A-C-E-Y, last name D-E-S-A-M-O-U-R-S.
And what is your current occupation?
I am currently the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner at the Cobb County Medical Examiner's Office in Marietta, Georgia.
And how long have you been practicing medicine?
I have been practicing forensics pathology specifically just over 14 years.
And are you board certified?
Yes, board certified in anatomic pathology and forensic pathology.
And can you please explain to the jury your educational background from undergraduate all the way through your fellowship?
Yes, I earned a bachelor's degree in biology from UCLA, then completed a anatomic pathology residency, medical school at the Morehouse School of Medicine in Atlanta, Georgia, then an anatomic pathology residency training program in Davis, California, at University of California, Davis, and then completed a forensic pathology training program at the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office through Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia.
And after completing your fellowship, where did you begin working?
I began my career at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the GBI, at the headquarters laboratory in Decatur, Georgia.
Now, can you describe your job duties as a forensic pathologist?
In general, my duties are to perform autopsies to determine the cause and manner of death in cases that are reported to the medical examiner's office, then prepare a report of my findings and occasionally testify in court, as today.
Now, as a medical examiner, are you required to complete any continuing education?
Yes.
And what does that involve?
Yes, for our continuing medical education, we are required to complete 70 hours of continuing medical education units per every 2 years.
And approximately how many autopsies have you performed in your career as a medical examiner?
Over my career, about 4,000.
And have you testified in court before?
Yes.
And about approximately how many times?
Probably around 130 times, several times here in Clayton County.
Now, at this time, Your Honor, the state moves to tender this witness as an expert in the field of forensic pathology.
Okay, so
He made a joke
She
there.
is
I didn't hear
admitted
it.
as an expert in forensic.
She has more degrees than something, so she.
And Dr. Desimore, what is pathology?
Pathology is a subspecialty of medicine that deals with the diagnosis of diseases.
And what is forensic pathology?
Forensic pathology is a subspecialty within pathology that deals with the investigation of sudden and unexpected deaths and also the interpretation of injuries.
And can you explain what an autopsy is?
Sure. An autopsy is basically a physical examination of a person who's died. We start by examining all of the external body surfaces, looking for any evidence of natural disease or injuries that may have caused or contributed to a person's death. And then we open the body cavities and examine all of the internal organs, looking for evidence of the same.
Now, did you perform an autopsy on the body of Kenneth Herring in connection with GBI case number 2019-1012838?
Yes.
And when did this autopsy take place?
May 8th, 2019.
And during this autopsy, did you follow the same procedures that you just described as far as external and internal examination?
Yes.
Now, did you publish a report in reference to this autopsy?
I did.
And were photos taken during this autopsy?
Yes.
Now, during your external examination of Mr. Herring's body, did you find any external evidence of injury?
I did.
And what did you find?
There was a small bruise here on the left upper chest region near the collarbone and a gunshot wound of the abdomen.
Now, prior to you conducting your autopsy, what type of things would you have to, I guess, refer to before you begin your examination?
The investigators at the GBI investigate the death and prepare an initial report of their findings, and I would have had that to review prior to the autopsy examination.
And was there anything of significance that you found in that report?
Anything of significance? Can you be a little bit more specific?
Was there anything in that investigative report that led you to conduct any further examinations in this case?
Well, we were told that Mr. Herring sustained a gunshot wound. We were told some initial information about his medical history and that the death was being investigated by the police.
And was there any indication regarding any, you said medical condition?
Yes, we were told that specifically that he had a medical history of hypertension and diabetes.
Now, once you heard that, or once you learned that there was a history of hypertension and diabetes, did you conduct any tests regarding diabetes and hypertension?
Yes, as a part of the autopsy examination, because he had a medical history of diabetes, I conducted a test that helps to look for any evidence of elevated blood sugar.
And did you find any elevated levels of blood sugar?
It was not elevated.
And can you explain why that may have been?
So the test, more specifically, the test can show us if his blood sugar was elevated at the time of death, but it cannot tell us if the blood sugar was low after death. When a person dies, the blood sugar continues to be metabolized very, very quickly. So even in a person whose blood sugar was normal at their time of death, that test would show low blood sugar. That's just the normal course of what we call post-mortem change. So if his blood sugar was already low, there's no way for me to differentiate if he had a low blood sugar at the time of death versus the normal post-mortem lowering of the blood sugar.
You would not have known if the EMTs or the hospital had provided him any insulin after the shooting?
No, I was not given that information.
Now, in conducting your examinations, is there any review of any toxicology reports?
In this case, yes, I submitted blood specimens for toxicology.
And what were the results?
He had a negative comprehensive blood screen.
And can you explain what this comprehensive toxicology would have entailed?
Yes, so the comprehensive blood screen at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation tests for all the major and common drugs of abuse, and there are hundreds of different additional drugs that the panel covers.
And you said everything was negative?
Yes.
And what about the blood alcohol content?
It was negative as well.
Now, going back to the external examination of Mr. Herring, you indicated that there was a small bruise where?
Over the left clavicle region.
Any other external evidence of injury?
Yes, a gunshot wound of the abdomen.
Now, can you describe to the jury what stippling is?
So let's go back a little bit. When a gun is fired, not only the bullet leaves the barrel of the gun, but the bullet is accompanied by different gases of combustion and also burned and unburned gunpowder particles. The burned gunpowder particles are very light, like soot, like ash, and they don't fly very far from the barrel of the gun after it's fired. So if we see soot around the wound, we know that the barrel of the gun was in close proximity in general, we talk about general ranges, within a few inches of the body. The unburned gunpowder particles, however, are heavier, so they're able to fly a little bit further from the gun. And so when we see these little marks, these tiny little marks on the skin caused by those unburned gunpowders, that is stippling. And when we see those marks on the skin, we know that in general, the muzzle of the gun was within a few inches up to about 2 to 3 feet, depending on the ammunition and the weapon used.
And did you find any soot in this case?
There was no soot.
Did you find stippling?
Yes, we found a very few stippled abrasions, as we call it, or stippled marks around the gunshot wound.
And just to be clear, what would that have indicated to you?
It would indicate at least there was between a few inches to 2 to 3 feet from the body.
I'm showing you what has been previously marked as States Exhibits 32, 33, 34, and 35.
May I see this little?
Now, do you recognize those photos?
I do.
And what do you recognize those photos to be?
These are pictures taken at the time of autopsy of Mr. Herring's body.
And do they appear to be in the same? Do they appear to be the pictures that were taken by you during this autopsy?
Yes.
All right, the state moves to enter States Exhibit 32, 33, 34, and 35 into evidence. Any objection?
No objection. No.
Admitted without objection.
Commission to publish State Exhibits. You may publish.
So guess what's still working? The broken iPad
All right,
still
we're
works.
showing you State Exhibit 32.
No, it just stopped working.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, I had to take that call from the appraisal guy that has to do the appraisal on the Airbnb. And I missed a little bit about the bruising. Are they saying that that it could have been caused by an airbag, or did they specifically spell out what the was there bruising? Was there not bruising?
I'm showing you State's Exhibit 32. Would this have been an ID photo of Mr. Herring once he came into the lab?
That's correct.
And that number that we see would be the GBI number that's associated with his case?
Yes.
Okay. And now I'm showing you State's Exhibit 33. Okay, and in State's Exhibit 33, what are we seeing here?
Just above the ruled placard that bears the decedent's assigned case number, there is a circular defect there that is a gunshot and entrance wound.
All right, and I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 34.
Bruise on left collarbone. Could that have been seatbelt?
And is this the same gunshot wound, just a zoomed in version?
Yes.
It's interesting, the measurements for stippling,
Now,
where it
can you
occurs,
tell
are different
us
every
what
case.
the entrance, where the bullet would have entered?
That is the entrance wound.
And the direction of the bullet?
The direction of the bullet through the body, the path through the body, the bullet traveled from the front of the body toward the back. Very slight right to left deviation through the body and downward.
And was there any exit wound?
There was not.
And did you recover any projectiles from Mr. Herring's body?
Yes, so the bullet traveled through the abdomen. It struck the small intestine, the large intestine, the colon, and the left kidney. Then it came to rest just beneath the skin of the left side of the back.
Now, what type of effect would that have had on Mr. Herring's body?
It resulted in a massive loss of blood.
All right, I'm showing you what has been previously marked as State's Exhibit 36. Can you identify that?
Yes, I can.
And what is it?
This is the bullet that I recovered from Mr. Herring's body at the time of autopsy.
And how are you able to tell that that is the bullet that you pulled from his body?
It inside the evidence box is a label which bears the decedent's name and assigned case number and my initials, and then the exterior of the box is sealed with red evidence tape, also bearing my initial and the date of the examination.
The state would like to move State's Exhibit 36 into evidence.
No objection, no.
Admitted without objection.
And now I'm going to publish State's Exhibit 35. And so is this what you retrieved from Mr. Herring's body? Is this the projectile that was retrieved from Mr. Herring's body?
That's correct.
Now, did you also conduct an internal examination of Mr. Herring's body?
Yes.
And were all of his organs present?
Yes.
And did you observe any evidence of any internal injury?
That's commonly referred to as
Internal
a
injuries?
hollow point.
Yes. Along the gunshot wound path, as I mentioned before, the bullet struck the stomach, both the large intestine, the small intestine, and the left kidney.
All right, can you explain to the jury what the cause of death is generally?
The cause of death is the exact injury or the natural disease process that causes a person's death.
And what was the cause of death in Mr. Herring's case?
Gunshot wound of the abdomen.
And what is the manner of death generally?
The manner of death takes into account the circumstances around the death to explain how the death occurred. And we have basically 4 choices: a natural death, accidental death, suicide, and homicide.
And what was the manner of death in Mr. Herring's case?
Homicide.
It's a 9mm hollow point. I don't know the brand.
Nothing further.
I'm trying to talk to your witness for cross-examination.
But it's got the mushroom effect is it's a very devastating round internally.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
My name is Matt Tucker. I'm the attorney here for Ms. Payne. And I just wanted to go over a couple of details you brought out and that you made notes of. Now, you're familiar, you wrote a summary of this investigation or autopsy, correct?
I did.
Okay. And in this summary, you talked about what was notable from the body that you received, correct?
I did.
And one of the things was notable was a gunshot, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then you mentioned here that there was some slight bruising on the left shoulder.
There was, yes.
Do you recall where you put that in your autopsy summary?
It is in the evidence of acute injury section, right at the very end on page 3.
Annabelle, thanks for the explanation. I appreciate that. Thanks for the super chat. I'm not going to put it on the screen just because it might also cause problems. So I appreciate the clarification.
It says external examination?
Just above that, 2 lines above that, it says other injuries.
Mm-hmm.
A small contusion there.
So a contusion. So was it on his left side shoulder, correct?
It was, yeah, right overlying the collarbone.
Okay. Would that be where commonly a seatbelt would go across the body?
Yes.
Okay. And was that bruise kind of in a square or kind of in a size that would be consistent with possibly a seatbelt abrasion?
No, a seatbelt tends to make a broader mark based on the size of the seatbelt. This was a much smaller bruise.
So it's much smaller than, say, the size of a seatbelt?
Absolutely, yes.
So have a pin top or?
Just probably a little larger than a pin top.
Pin top. Okay. Now, I noticed you said that you collected some blood and then you sent it off for a drug test, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and who completed the drug test?
This would have been the GBI State Crime Lab.
Would it be Miss Cook?
The toxicologist. I don't have the toxicology report, so I'm not sure whose name is on it.
Okay. And you said that commonly they test for all the drugs that are addictive or that are commonly used in abuse?
Yes, in their comprehensive panel, they test for all the common drugs of abuse, as well as a few hundred additional drugs.
Wow. Test for everything. So not seatbelt, but a very small bruise on the shoulder, like about the size of a pen top. That doesn't sound to me like a punch bruise. Hang on, got another insurance call.
And if I may approach, Your Honor.
You may.
Let me show you here a summary of your autopsy. Does that appear to be a true and correct, accurate copy of what your summary, your autopsy excuse me, summary was?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, Your Honor, I would like to tender what I defense exhibit number 10.
Any objection from the state?
Tim was so.
All right, no objection, Your Honor. Okay, admitted without objection.
And you stated the bullet had actually come in at a close range, or something close to, as close to a couple of inches and as far as possibly 2 feet, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you extracted the bullet, correct?
Yes.
But you examined the whole body, correct?
Yes. So, if I may approach, Your Honor?
You may.
You can look at that and tell me, is that something that you extracted from his body?
It is.
Is that the bullet fragments from the one that went into his abdomen?
They are not.
Okay, where were those bullet fragments taken from?
These are bullet fragments that were actually taken from the right upper arm of Mr. Herring. These are old bullet fragments. He had sustained a gunshot wound in the past, and these were fragments that remained in the body.
And could you tell how old they had been in the body?
I cannot.
Okay. But those weren't the bullets that we were talking about that went into the abdomen, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you said that it came in at a up to downward, right to left angle, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And with how many others?
You may publish.
So the way this is sitting right there, would that be a fair reflection that his body was standing like this?
I can't tell you his positioning.
But that's the angle of the bullet going into the body, correct?
This picture is a bit too zoomed in. I would need a little bit more reference in the picture.
Would that help?
Yes. So this picture is actually upside down as it's displayed.
So this would be. Let me try to zoom in. So this wouldn't be his belly button?
It is.
This be his chest?
Right, so the way it's displayed is actually upside down.
But if he was standing in the position I'm standing, would that be a fair and accurate representation?
It is still upside down, just for reference sake.
Okay, so when you...
His head would be toward the top of the screen. Yes, so his head would be toward the top of the screen now, and his belly button there. The dark structure in the top left-hand corner is his nipple areola complex. So where this gunshot wound is positioned
Bingo.
is in the left side of the upper abdomen.
So it would be reflective of his body standing like this, correct?
Potentially, yes. But I cannot tell you what position he was in.
I'm talking the bullet hole as a comparison to his body. His body being the chest up here, and that would be the position he would be in from that picture.
I cannot tell you what position the decedent was in. I can tell you that this gunshot wound entered the left side of the abdomen.
Okay, but that's his abdomen, and if it were to... And just for reference purposes, if I may approach, Your Honor.
Yes, you may.
So this is a diagram of the body. And is that a fair, accurate representation of what a human body would look like?
Yes,
Okay.
in standard anatomical.
It's a line drawing.
Okay, and you said
Like a
that the
stick
bullet
figure.
hole came from a top to bottom, right to left position, correct?
That's the direction through the body.
Okay.
He certainly could have sustained this injury while lying down and gotten that path through the body. He could have sustained this injury bending forward and sustained that same direction. So I cannot tell you what exact position he was in when he sustained the injury. I can only tell you the direction through the body.
And that's what I'm asking for, the direction through the body. You said it was a right to left, slightly sloped, and it went and hit some major organs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. If I may approach again, Your Honor. So could you draw how the bullet went through the body?
He's taken all the time in doing this
Just so we can have an understanding.
because it's a difficult angle, trajectory to explain based on the physical location of the defendant and the victim inside the car with the reach and everything. It was it's interesting. Hey, Dr. Joe, good to have you in here. Absolutely amazing interview last night. Great job, and Greg Anderson, as always, was totally amazing. And thanks for the shout out. Appreciate that. You were in luck. Yesterday, our court ended just like 3 minutes before your live stream began, so we ported everyone over to watch you, and it was perfect timing. I was going to watch anyway, so
because they're on the.
It was great. But great job.
Opposite figures. You just want them both on the same. Okay. A little, because I had already written entrance there, the entrance and exit are, it's hard to see where I've written the exit.
Is there a line you could draw that was going through the body?
Mm-hmm.
He wants that line, that trajectory. This is what he's going for, because what we know is it's from it's near the center of the body, near the abdomen, goes in sort of upward and sort of from right to left. Now realize he's in the driver's seat, okay? He's in the driver's seat of the car, and the defendant's outside the driver's seat.
They are very close together.
In which hands? We'll find out more.
Yes.
But it's an odd angle. It's an odd place. You'd have to reach across, turn your wrist more than 90 degrees to fire.
Is this a fair and accurate resemblance or representation of the human body?
Yes.
Is this markings that you put on this photograph that represent where the bullet came in and finally rested?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, I've moved to 10 Exhibit 12.
No objection, Your Honor. Okay, admitted without objection.
Ma'am.
Back published. Yes, you may publish.
So there are no objections. So I can go ahead and publish this. Now we're going to see the stick
Stating that
figure,
the bullet-
the anatomical drawing. You guys, if you can't handle your biology book, this might be a little too much for you. Let's see if they show us this.
His left side of his body.
Yes.
Angled at a downward,
Yes.
right to left.
Very slightly right to left.
So if there was a gun that shot, it would have had to been inside or close to his body. It couldn't have been from shooting it. If he was here, it couldn't have been shot this way, correct?
When you say he was here, you have to go.
If he was sitting in a car.
Okay. In the driver's seat.
The driver's seat, as if the
Okay.
steering wheel's here.
Mm-hmm.
The bullet could not have come from this angle.
She's going to be careful
With
here.
him sitting as normally seated in a driver's seat.
Okay. Thank you. So normally sitting in the driver's seat, it could not have come from the window into the vehicle to hit him in that kind of position, normally seated, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and actually the angle going down and slightly right to left, it would appear that the gun was past that area and kind of angled back, correct?
Again, I have no opinion on the positioning of the gun because I have no information on the positioning of the decedent.
But from your expert opinion, looking at all of the angles and the way the bullet entered the body,
I have no information on the position of the decedent. That would change my opinion depending on the positioning of the decedent. So without that information, I cannot render an opinion.
But you're an expert, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. She just answered the question.
Did she answer?
She said she cannot give any opinion on the angle of the gun.
I just asked her if she was an expert.
Attorney Tucker, finish what you're saying, ABA Hunter.
Dr. Esmore has already explained that she cannot give any opinion on the angle of the gun because she does not have the information that she needs.
I didn't ask that question. I asked her if she was an expert.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
Can you ask her if she's an expert?
Attorney Tucker,
I'm sorry.
Please, I haven't finished saying what I am saying, so please allow me.
Yes,
I'm going to sustain the objection. She was qualified as an expert previously, and so you do have that information, and the question has been asked several times and answered. So I'm going to instruct you to move on with your next question.
So she said, and just to clarify, she said that she was not given any details of the position of the gun. But she being an expert, I want to ask a question and ask about a scenario, what her findings would be.
Oh, you're going to give her a scenario?
Yes, ma'am.
I will give you some leeway.
Thank you. So, presuming in this scenario, the body is sitting in a driver's seat, normally positioned with the steering wheel in front of it. Okay. And noticing the trajectory of this bullet, from your expert opinion, would the gun have to be positioned a little farther in over where the bullet entered the body? In your expert opinion.
She doesn't want to answer this because this is the hypothetical. She's trying to find her way around this.
It could still be positioned over the body. It could still be positioned slightly left of the body. We're talking about a gunshot wound that goes essentially straight back through his body. The right to left deviation is very slight. We're talking about a 1/4 inch. So the entrance defect is 1 1/4 inch left of the midline of his abdomen, and where the bullet lodged on the back is 1 1/2 inch. So we're literally talking about the width of about a standard pencil eraser. So there's not a significant deviation there. So the gun could be either over the wound, could be to the slight the wound. If the decedent's turned any little bit in his seat, it could still be on the left side. There are just too many variables for me to give an accurate opinion on the positioning of the gun.
Yes, doctor, but in my scenario, I said to take the position of the body as being straight.
Even taking the position being straight, it can be to the left. It can, the muzzle of the gun is long. People's arms are long. You can still have that same path through the body.
And I appreciate you saying that. But there was, as you said, a very slight right to left.
That's correct.
Okay. And based on the size of the entrance, how close was the gun to it? You said could have been 1 inch to 2 feet.
No, I said a few inches up to 2 to 3 feet, depending on the weapon used, the ammunition used. To find the exact range of fire requires, test firing the exact same weapon with the exact same ammunition in very controlled conditions. So we cannot give an exact range of fire, but the presence of stipple abrasions lets us know it is a few inches up to roughly 2 to 3 feet from the body.
And because of those particles that you mentioned that were on the body of the burns close to the bullet entrance, it would appear that gunpowder had hit the chest area, correct?
Around not the chest, the abdomen, around the gunshot wound.
Okay, and gunpowder generally comes out the barrel of the gun.
Yes.
And from that, you still can only get a range a few inches to a couple of feet, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now you were told that he had diabetes, and you were told he had some other symptoms, correct?
I was told he has a medical history of hypertension and diabetes.
Did you ever see any medical records?
In this case, no.
Okay. So you took what was told to you and did your evaluation with that kind of in the back of your mind as you're going through it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But you didn't find any signs that would show that there was any kind of diabetic coma shock or anything, because as you explained, the body would have burned the sugar in the body at rigor mortis or...
Right. There was no evidence of hyperglycemia, which we can see at autopsy, so we know that his blood sugar wasn't high, but there's no way for me to determine whether his blood sugar is low.
So this was kind of inconclusive to you. Was it a relative factor when you were looking into the body and doing your autopsy?
Yes, the cause of death in this case is a gunshot wound of the abdomen.
And were you given information about how long it took for him to get to the hospital, or how long he was at the hospital?
I hear what the
I was
defense
told
is
that he
trying to do.
arrived at the ER at Southern Regional Medical Center at 6:38 p.m. and he was pronounced deceased at 6:46 p.m.
Okay. And were you given the time of the incident?
Approximately, or our investigator was initially told that the accident occurred at 6:15 p.m.
Okay, so roughly 15 minutes to get to the hospital. From what you were told.
Yes, that was the initial information given to the investigators, and sometimes, details can be off in the initial investigation, but that was what we were told initially.
From your autopsy, did you find it was off? That time would have been off based on?
No, we are not determining time of death.
Okay. Now, the drug screen, if I may approach, Your Honor.
You may.
I can see what the defense attorney is trying to do. And if the body was in that the standard position, driver's seat position, it makes it hard to understand how the firearm she would have shot it.
Exhibit number 13 that I would ask to use to refresh your memory.
But if he was turned in altercation through the window, it's completely different. Oops, sorry, we just lost a feed. Hang on, we'll see if we can get this back. It's asking me what my household income is. Why does YouTube want to know what my household income is? 0. Skip survey. Why'd I get a YouTube?
Exact drugs was he tested for?
Well, what I'm reviewing is what appears to be a toxicology report from the GBI, and he had a comprehensive drug screen.
Okay, but there are a few listed out specific drugs they test for, correct?
Yes, some are specifically listed. The common drugs of abuse are listed out, but the drug confirmation results specifically list a negative comprehensive drug screen.
And could you read off those drugs that they were tested for and kind of give an example of what on the street those would be called?
Barbiturates, which would be drugs like phenobarbital, cannabinoids or marijuana, certain benzodiazepines, which class of sedative type drugs like Xanax, cocaine and cocaine metabolites, and certain opioids like oxycodone, hydrocodone, fentanyl, that sort of thing.
And those are the only drugs that were tested for?
No, he had a comprehensive drug screen. This toxicologist just chose to list these specifically out.
And that's what I was going to ask, ma'am. So those were specifically put out there to show those were tested for and those were negative, even though it was a comprehensive. Those were singled out, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and on the street there's other common addictive drugs besides those you've mentioned, correct?
Yes.
Okay, what might those be?
You could have drugs like LSD, PCP, those type of drugs.
Would meth be one of those drugs?
Methamphetamine, yes, could be.
But methamphetamine was not specifically pulled out to identify as in that report?
No, but I happen to know from working at the GBI for 10 and a half years that methamphetamine is included in the comprehensive drug screen.
But it was not singled out in this drug test?
It was not, yes.
Okay, so one of our other devices just overrode my login on YouTube. And that's why we got that survey. So we might get an ad pop up, and I'll have to change my login back to my YouTube Premium account.
And
just a heads
other
up.
than a slight pin top bruise to the left shoulder, there were no other bruises that you noticed on the body, correct?
That's correct.
Not any in the face?
No.
Not any in the chest?
No.
Not any in the arms?
No.
No other bruises or kind of marks or cuts?
No.
And that would be reflected that obviously there'd been no injuries or any kind of force, blunt force to that area, correct?
No, that's not correct.
But
you can still suffer blunt impact injury and it not leave a bruise.
But on this body that you did the autopsy, you saw no bruises, you saw no signs of any kind of bruising in the face and the chest area, correct?
That's correct.
Well, she, it was an interesting response. Okay, so the state's trying to say that it's very difficult to imagine how this shooting could have taken place.
And just one more question. Sure. Now, given the scenario I gave to you, with his body being sitting straight forward, with the steering wheel being in front of him, the entrance of the bullet could not have come from a gun outside of the window, correct?
No, not likely.
Not likely or not possible?
Any redirect from the state?
No, Your Honor, this case may be released. Okay. You're excused, Doctor. Thank you.
So he's trying to cast doubt in the idea that she shot him and sort of bring forward all the evidence that would indicate that this happened during a struggle for the firearm, where the firearm went off during the struggle, which would match more what the defendant says the story is. Did not do any redirect, surprisingly.
And you're not female, correct?
Okay, so they're going to do a quick approach. While they're doing this, give me just 1 second. I'm going to... oh, that's the new witness. Okay, I'm going to do a quick check just to make sure I'm on the right account. I think I am. I think we're good. If we have a commercial, we'll have to fix it. But let's see. insurance is calling me back. Hold on one second.
Have them send someone with more experience.
Scratch all that. Oh, that was terrible. I apologize. Don't miss the forest for the trees.
Subject matter jurisdiction.
Alex stole it as well.
Because he's the guy.
Bring the jury.
I'm not a camel.
I'm not a cat.
All rise. Court is now in session.
All right. Have to get the Airbnb insured and have to get an appraisal done on it as well. All right, Mrs. RA, if you're listening, I need you to run down and so I can tell you something. Let's see. We did have some hold music going. There's no audio from the courtroom right now that I can hear because there's a sidebar going on. The sidebar just know that the judge is very deliberate, speaks very clearly, and it's not a rushed process in any way. Can you play 5 seconds of verdict music? Yeah. There it is. We don't have a verdict yet, though. Let's see. All right, so I was on hold. I had to talk to my insurance agent. I will say that I have an amazing insurance agent. This is not an endorsement, but when we moved here to North Carolina, every insurance company we talked to wanted us to insure our house for about 3 or 4 times what we had paid for it. And it was ridiculous because they're saying you need all this massive coverage because it's old and they don't build like that anymore. So if it burns down, the cost of redoing it that way is very expensive. And this one insurance company, State Farm, treated us right. So we went with them, and they've been wonderful ever since.
If you would please for me stand back up and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give before the court in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
You can take your hand down.
But I'm just going to ask that you project into that mic so everyone can hear you and the reporter can hear you.
I'm a little short.
It's a nice jacket. It's cool.
That works better without the feedback.
We'll see you, Kim. Thanks for being here. We'll catch you in the next one.
Okay, if you would please state and spell your name for us.
Cameron Williams, Cameron Williams, Williams.
And how are you currently employed?
I'm self-employed.
And you, what do you do?
I own a truck company. I drive a semi.
And did you drive your semi back to Georgia in order to be present for trial today?
Yes.
Semi's parked out in the courthouse parking lot. That is awesome. I think
Where
this
did
guy
you live back in May? Not the address,
names.
but in general, where did you live back in May of 2019?
Across from Point South Middle School neighborhood called Bradford Park.
I'm not sure what he said. I think it was across
and
from
on
a
May the
school.
7th of 2019, did you happen to be in the area of Forest Parkway, Riverdale Road, near the interstates and all of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Why were you in that area?
At the time, I was attending a real estate seminar that I was actually running late to.
What time were you supposed to be at the real estate seminar?
I believe sometime around 5 and 5:30.
Okay. And do you remember the day that we're talking about, the May the 7th of 2019?
Yes, ma'am.
Where was that seminar that you're trying to get to?
Virginia Avenue.
In Atlanta?
On the other side of the airport, yes, ma'am.
And so can you...
It may be at East Point, Judge, though.
And can you... I'm going to ask you to step down and look at this map, and if you can just kind of generally, on the ground, I'm going to get it up there in a minute, kind of generally your direction of travel on that day.
All right.
Mr. Williams, if you could just, using this map, if you see with Phoenix Boulevard and Forest Parkway, and Riverdale Road, and the McDonald's over here, interstate up there.
Yes.
If you could kind of just in general show us the road and your kind of direction of travel.
I was coming from Riverdale Road this way, and the light was red right here. I got into the left
Speak
lane.
up for us. Okay.
I was on 139, Riverdale Road. The real estate seminars on the opposite side of the airport, so it's on Virginia Avenue.
So you were just trying to come straight up Riverdale Road through this intersection?
Yes, I was going to actually go around this curve around the airport.
Okay.
Yes.
And were you alone in your car?
Yes.
Do you recall how the traffic was when you're trying to get through that intersection at this particular time of day?
Yes, the light was green, but traffic wasn't moving.
And at some point, did you make it through the intersection but moving slow?
I actually drove into the left lane to bypass the traffic that wasn't moving. And when I approached the intersection is when I seen Ms. Hannah.
Okay. So you go around some of the traffic in the left lane.
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the first thing that draws your attention to there being something going on just past that intersection?
Well, what drove my attention to begin with was that the light was green and nobody was moving.
Okay. And then what happens next?
I ended up approaching the intersection and then seeing that everybody was stopped out watching Ms. Hannah Payne outside of her vehicle.
What did you observe? I mean, obviously you didn't know her name at the time, but what did you observe happening that drew your attention?
I just seen her outside hitting on his window or his car door, and that's what made me just pull out my phone.
Okay. And describe what you see as far as where is Ms. Payne standing when you see her?
Well, her back is towards me, so I didn't see her face or anything, but she was actually standing at the guy's driver door.
Okay.
That's what I saw.
And what did you see her doing at that driver's door?
Yelling, hitting on the window, hitting on the door, whatever she was doing.
From your angle?
From my angle.
It appeared that she was hitting on either the window or the door?
Yes.
Could you see if she had anything in her hands?
At the time, no, I did not.
What else happens next?
I ended up pulling out my phone to record. Honestly, I hate to say it like this, but it was like another day in Clayton County. And as I was recording, I heard a gunshot.
Now, did you see any sort of struggle between the driver of the car that she's standing at and Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Okay, describe what you saw.
It just looked like a little pushing back and forth.
And you indicated that you pulled out your phone and recorded. Are you kind of moving past it as it's happening when you record?
Yes, I was actually traveling past it when I was recording.
So and you would agree that there's some sort of struggle or tussle between the two people?
Yes, I ended up getting out to check on the guy after I heard the gunshot.
So you're shooting a TikTok?
When you recorded what was on your phone, were you able to then view that recording?
Yes, I actually sent it to an officer on the site that same day. Okay. I don't remember his name, but if I could go through my email, I could probably tell you, find it.
Okay, but you had a chance to look at the recording that you were able to capture on your phone.
Yes.
Did you alter that recording or delete it or add anything to it in any way?
No, ma'am.
So the video that you provided to law enforcement is what you recorded on your phone?
Yes.
Guys, content warning, we're probably going to be able to watch a video of an actual altercation that took place. This is a crime occurring.
So
we're
once
watching
you
this
made
for
that
educational and informational purposes.
And you realized that there was a gunshot, what did you do?
The recording, I just sent to the officer at the scene. Obviously, when it first happened, I got out. I parked my car in the middle of the street and got out and checked on the gentleman.
Okay. And did you notify officers that you had a video?
I did.
But were you able to stay around to write statements and have a full interview on that scene?
I didn't stay around to write a statement because I was running late for a seminar.
And did you let law enforcement know that's what was happening?
I did send it to an officer on the scene, though, to his email, yes.
And did you let officers know on the scene, I have this video, but I have to be to this class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you eventually come to the Clayton County Police Department to give an interview about what you saw?
Yes, somebody, I don't know the officer's name at the time, but somebody did call me probably about a couple weeks later.
And let's be honest, were you kind of reluctant to be involved at that time?
Honestly, it didn't matter to me, honestly, if I'm being honest.
Do you recall telling law enforcement that you had some, didn't really want to go to court, but that you were willing to provide the video?
I'm a little biased because my dad's an officer. Okay. So.
And you told law enforcement that as well?
Yes.
Do you also recall telling law enforcement that once you learned that the gentleman had passed away, you thought you should bring the video?
Yes.
And that your interview with law enforcement, was that back in 2019 sometime after?
I believe so. It wasn't long after it happened.
And so you back in 2019 you turned over the video and made your interview, is that right?
Yes.
Now in the meantime, did you have you had a request of me to assist you with a traffic arrest that you have had?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you ask me?
I asked you, could you put in a word for me or just help me out for something that I had dealing with last summer as far as DUI.
Okay, and that was something that happened in 2022?
3-4 years afterwards.
Okay, and you are aware that I don't work in traffic court?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and have I made you any promise that I will get your case dismissed or anything like that?
No, you just said you would put in a word for me.
Okay. And would you recognize, in addition to the video that you took, would you be able to recognize still photographs from that video?
I'm sorry, can you rephrase that?
Would you be able to recognize portions of that video?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
showing you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 20. It is marked as the cell phone video of Cameron Williams. You've already indicated that you did not alter or delete or have any do anything to adjust the video that you took on your cell phone. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I'm showing you State's Exhibits 21 and 22. Do you recognize those as portions of the recording that you made, as still shots of that recording?
Yes, ma'am.
And do those fairly and accurately depict at least 2 moments of the video that you took?
Yes.
And at this time, State would tender States 20, 21, and 22.
Any objection? Okay, admitted without objection.
And at this time, the State is requesting to publish.
I don't know what the defense can do to this guy. Basically, he's got video.
State's
the video
Exhibit
stands
20,
on its own as evidence.
But I'm going to take down the map first.
They might say he's biased. They might say, attack his background and everything. But the video, how can you say, you edited the video? What are they going to do? I think we are going to see the video, or at least see screenshots from it.
Getting pulled up, Mr. Williams, you would agree there's a voice in the video, and that's just you making a couple of comments. Is that correct?
Yes.
The voice that we hear is you?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall whether or not you had any contact with the defendant, Ms. Payne, after the incident occurred?
No, I had no contact at all. I just seen her in the middle of the street. Okay. No conversation.
That you can recall today?
No, we didn't have any conversation.
Okay. Well, let me remind you. Do you recall talking to law enforcement indicating that she asked if you had seen what happened? Does that sound familiar?
She did ask me that, actually. She did.
And is that the extent of the video that you had taken and recorded in this incident?
Yes.
Seriously? Seriously?
Oh, you have. We show display State's Exhibit 21. Wait for that to go away. I think click on the third.
Okay, so we're going to have to use our imaginations.
Okay. And it should be on your screen as well.
I did the disclaimer and everything.
And so do you see in the photograph, do you see what appear to be some hands, the hands of the driver of the red truck?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, here's our first.
And if you would display State's Exhibit 22.
That's our first image that we got.
And in State's Exhibit number 22, do you see the firearm displayed in the defendant's right hand?
Yes.
Looks like a holster on the right hip.
Okay, thank you.
With the shirt pulled up on the right side, that would indicate a right hand carry.
Have you had the opportunity in the last 4 years to watch? Have you watched your interview?
Watched her interview?
Your interview.
My interview? No, I have not.
Okay. So I'm going to just ask you a couple of questions to see if it kind of jogs your memory about a couple of things that you said back then.
Okay.
And if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
All right.
Okay, so she's trying to protect against impeachment. So his testimony today is probably different than what he said back then. And now here she's like, before I'm done, I just want to show you something and see if that reminds you of what you had said before. The defense attorney's like, no, don't go there, because I want to use that as impeachment material. You can't show him everything and say, now do you remember? And now he's like, oh yeah, and then he loses everything he has against this guy, which isn't much, okay? Because a video is a video, and yeah, you can attack the guy who filmed it. You can be like, oh, you're a snake. I don't like what you did, XYZ, or you're rotten in a former life, whatever it is. But the video is very hard to get rid of because it's basically just it captures what it captures. You'd have to go back and see. She had a finger on the trigger. Should have been straight down the side by the trigger guard. She was 21. AB 801. She was 21. This guy isn't on trial. Yeah, but they do this with every witness. They'll try to discredit witnesses. That's because in the mind of the jury, the jury has to make up a decision to see if they're going to believe the witness or not. And so anything they can do to cast dispersions about his believability, they're gonna try to interject that. Even a photo of the video. We got 2 photos and that's it. That's all we've got so far. It's possible the actual video may be released at some point, but apparently not today. I will say it appears from that photo, just the little we can see, that the driver was in the regular driver position. Why is this important? Because the gunshot was straightforward, like it's straight through the body. So the gun would have to be positioned. If he's in that position when the gun went off, the gun would have to be in front of him. That you can't turn a bullet while it's flying without it hitting something. And there was no indication that it ricocheted off the steering wheel or off the steering column or something. There was none of that. Or else we would hear it, and that would have left a trail and damage. So the gun would have to be in the vehicle, in front of him, between him and the steering wheel, facing him, for this to happen. And it's held in her right hand. If it's held in her right hand, unless she loses it out of her right hand and transfers it to her left and then struggles over the gun, it's hard to understand how exactly that trajectory works with the scenario. Just Chrissy says, I jumped on the iPad to say hi, Al, in chat. Much love. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you as well. Betty Gurley just gifted a membership. Thank you so much, Betty. I didn't see who that one went to. Let me see if I can see this. I don't see where it went. Somebody said, all right, you had said if this is all they have, then they need to write a check. Are you talking about the defense of the state? Susan Knight, that was about Johns Hopkins. That's my opinion about Johns Hopkins. If their best defense is that if you squint and look at some of the letters in the juror note to the judge, it looks sort of like some letters that are used by Nazis.
All right, now.
I think they just need
to kind of try to refresh your memory just a little bit. Do you recall talking to the detectives indicating that you believed that the two, Ms. Payne and the driver, might have been tussling over the gun?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You indicated there was a tussle. I just wanted to make sure you were more specific about that. What do you remember seeing in that regard, if you can recall? I know it's been 4.5 years.
It's been a long time, but it's just, trying to go back thinking 3-4 years. What I mainly remember the most is when I'm riding past, it's just a physical between the two of them, but as far as their arms.
Okay.
And just her yelling. That's pretty much the most part.
Did you ever see the driver of the truck, and her yelling, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Did you ever see the driver of the truck get out of the vehicle?
No.
Did you ever see anything in his hands that you would have seen as a weapon?
No.
And Judge, we are going to, with the court's permission, we are going to replay the very short video.
Can we please see it this time? Please. I object if you don't show us.
And thank you. With that, Judge, the state does not have further questions.
Any cross-examination, Attorney Tucker?
Right before the cross,
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been sitting for a while, and so at this time, I'm going to give you a break. It is now 10:20. I would ask that you return at 10:45 so that we can resume. All the instructions I've previously given still apply.
So we have a break till 10:45. Okay, so I agree. I don't think that that what we have heard so far gives the defendant right to have fired the gun. Her story, though, is that she didn't, and it's still a possibility that there was a struggle and the gun went off as the driver was trying to take the gun from her and cause the gun to discharge. So we'll still. I'm still out on that one. I'm still listening to the facts. Haven't determined. Let's see. Her finger wasn't on the trigger; it was on the outside of the trigger guard. That would be proper as far as technique for safety. Okay. Judge gives long breaks. Very generous on the breaks. Okay.
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
Can we see the pigskin? Let me see if I can back up and grab those really quickly. Okay, it's going to be... Right there. Hold on. We're getting some pictures for you. We'll back this up a bit. Okay. Don't want that audio. Hey, Mrs. R.A., we need a... Okay, there we go. Hold tight, hold tight. We're going to bring this picture up. Okay. Okay, so we're looking at the pictures again. This is the first image. That was shown. We've got the truck. This is almost directly, perpendicular to the truck, looking across. We are looking through a partially rolled down window, but you can definitely see an object that probably is. If that's a Springfield, is that the Hellcat? Is that the Springfield Hellcat? We know it's a Springfield 9mm, but I'm curious about the model. The model of the gun's important because if it's a Springfield 1911, the barrel is much longer and it would be more difficult to get it in a tight space and turn it than a shorter firearm. Tower Hill Girl says, I believe the driver turned his body towards the window and that's why the trajectory of the bullet was as the doctor said. Let's look at the next freeze frame here. If we can. Oops, that's it. That's the next one. Okay, so you can see it on her right side, how her shirt is pulled up and sort of tucked in a little bit. I believe that is where she pulled her shirt up and it got stuck behind the holster. Oh no, I'm getting ads. So let me get this fixed. I need to fix YouTube. Mrs. R.A. logged in. That's the problem. There we go. Now we're back. Okay. live, no ads. All right. Okay. So here are two clips. One. Is that the only shot we have? I thought we had one of his hands. Let's see if we can get the next one. Thought there was another picture. Was it shown before this or after? Oh, there's the first one. Here we go. So the first one, a shirt still pulled up. I think if these were shown in order, the shirt is still pulled up, which would indicate that the firearm was already drawn at this point, or was already exposed. There's the first one. There's the second. The shirt seems to be pulled higher in this one, even though she doesn't appear to be struggling, even though, yeah, interesting. Okay, what's your take, guys, from those little two pictures? I wish we got to see the whole video. I think she's wearing like a sandal type thing, like Roman sandal style that lace up around the foot. It's an inside the waist holster. Look at the bulge in the pants. Hang on one second. Hey, Mrs. Ari. No, I was waiting for you to make the decision. Yeah. Okay, so, and insurance is taking care of the other stuff as well. Okay. Hang on, are you...
Just wanted to say that.
Mrs. Ari says, if you're going to do the comment on the Maya stuff, I'd like to have a comment on that. Let's see, 285. I'm trying to find the intersection where this was at. Was it Riverdale Road and 285? I want to do a Google Earth walkthrough on this, but all right. Let's see. Questions. Amanda, I believe the altercation, from our understanding so far, from what we've heard through opening statements and some witness testimony, there was some back and forth, meaning there was a tussle that went both ways. That there was participation on both parts, and that preceded the firearm being drawn. I don't know who started it. I don't know, what was happening, but it seems that there was a struggle first, and then the firearm was drawn. Forest Parkway and 285. I heard there was like Riverdale Road in there somewhere. I need an extra R in my forest. So I spelled it wrong. And it's not pulling it up. All right. If that was the defendant yelling, it shows her state of mind, too. Can you tell she intended deadly force? Really? That's going to be the question, the malice. I don't doubt for a minute. I think this defendant is going to be found guilty of one of these charges. Probably a lesser included. One of the lesser charges. At a bare minimum. And it might be guilty on all counts. She's guilty because of her actions taken that day and not listening to 911. Well, 911 is not, she doesn't have to do what they say. It's not like a police lawful order she has to follow. It does definitely get you in her mindset of what she wanted to do. But at the same time, she told 911, hey, I'm going to keep following because this guy's drunk and he's going to crash into somebody and hurt somebody. So her intent, her stated intent at that point was to protect someone else. And she said, I want to keep following until the police show up and can stop this guy. So I'll be the guy that says, here's where he's at. Come here, come here, come here. Did they test her for substances? I have not heard if they did. Let's see. Kathy and Pam, I believe firearm ownership is quite common, and carrying is also quite common in the area. The state just this year switched to constitutional carry, where you do not need a permit to carry. Big Mike, you're amazing, by the way. Sharon says, can you go over charges? Let me pull up what they are really quickly. I think there were, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think there are 7 charges. Malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, felony murder while committing the offense of false imprisonment. That's a crime in and of itself. False imprisonment, and then 3 counts of possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. That's what she's been charged with. But it would be interesting to see that she's, could get convicted of 3 different murder charges for 1 death. But that's just the way the law is written. B. Thimbles. So anyone can carry a gun just out in public? In Georgia, they have changed their law to say if you legally are allowed to carry a gun, then you legally can also carry it concealed without a permit. This is what's called a constitutional carry, meaning that you don't have to petition the government to exercise this because it's viewed by the state as a right. Meaning, if you're allowed to own a gun, own a firearm, you have that same right to carry it. And a lot of states have this. It's a growing movement in the United States. It seems crazy for those that didn't grow up with that mindset or with that familiarity with the firearms, just being an everyday occurrence. But yeah, I mean, I sit out on my front porch. I'll be out mowing my lawn, and someone will be walking to the grocery store with strapped. They've got a gun on their hip, and it's completely normal around here in North Carolina. My neighbor comes over just to say hi. He's carrying a gun. It's weird. It's a new law. She would have needed a permit in 2019, and we'll find out if she had one or not. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. I'm guessing she did have one. And the reason why is because if she didn't, there could be additional charges against her for that, and that haven't been pushed against her. So I'm guessing she legally was carrying a firearm. Let's see. I know gun laws are crazy. By saying crazy, I mean gun laws are all over the place in the United States. There are some states where it's very, very difficult to own a firearm. And there are other states that seems like, just for driving through, they give you one free and a box of cereal. It's all over the place. It's like 50 different countries having their own unique laws about guns with some, overlap. But some states allow concealed carry, and some states basically say only officers can conceal carry, where you need to have a pretty dang good reason. If she didn't have a permit, it would have been charged. I believe that's correct. Open carry and concealed carry are different. When you hear those words, open carry is when, like I described, people just walking down the sidewalk in front of my house with a gun showing on their hip. That would be open carry. Some states allow open carry the same as concealed carry. You could do either one. And some states say you can only concealed carry, meaning you're allowed to carry it, but nobody can see you've got it. And because if they can see the gun, then the rules change. It's just bizarre. You really need to know your state's laws. Yes, free and cereal, says Tina. Lucky Charms is what I'm thinking, Tina. Is that the box you would find it in? Sorry, Lucky Charms, so I threw you under the bus there, but B. Thimble says, I'm still struggling to understand why she drew her gun. He wasn't a danger anymore. His vehicle was blocked in. What I'm waiting for, B, on this one is more information about the altercation. We've heard some testimony that her shirt was completely ripped in the front, like torn. Think Hulk, like rawr. Only allegedly, the defendant somehow did this to her. So as she's confronting him, saying, "Hey, you crashed into this guy, whatever. You need to stop. Get out of the car." And if he grabs her shirt and is yanking on her into the car, just hypothetically, is taking her and pulling on her and trying to, wail on her, suddenly we have a very different scenario where she's in a self-defense situation. Where up to that point, yes, she disobeyed the dispatcher's instructions. Those are not lawful orders, but disobeyed the dispatcher's instructions, what they have to say for their own safety. They're just covering themselves. They're like, hey, we don't want you to follow her, but let us know when you get the plate, right? That's what she was operating under. Her get out of the car is going to sink her too, in my opinion. She had him stopped. She had his license plate available, but she wants to arrest him herself. Silly little girl about to go to prison. I think she went too far. Georgia isn't open carry. It is everyone can conceal carry, but once you show it, that is lethal force, and you need to be protecting life. So brandishing a firearm is the same as pointing at someone, basically. He had no weapon. Lay, I'm with you on this. I hear what the defense is saying about what was in the car, what tools were in the car, handyman tools, and those in the right situation could be a weapon. I'm not seeing that. I think that is it doesn't pass the smell test for me. So I'm not on board with he had a weapon unless I hear some more evidence to change my mind. I'm totally on that same page with you. She went to him. How is that self-defense? Alley Cat, you really have to break down the scenario and look at it and say, at what point did she break the law? At what point was she still in the right? And I mean, I can go on my property. I can go to the edge of my property and yell at my neighbor who's kicking a cat and say, "Hey, knock that off," sort of thing. And you're like, "Stop kicking my cat." I have the right to do that, right? I'm not in the wrong. I could be looking out my window and call the police and say, "Hey, my neighbor's kicking my cat." And I'm going to go over there and stop him. They say, "No, don't get involved. Wait for the police." I'm like, no. I'm worried about my cat. I'm going over there and doing something about it. And I can go and approach and say, "Hey, knock it off. Stop kicking my cat." And if he turns on me, he's like, "Yeah, you're next." Suddenly I'm in a self-defense situation where it was legal for me to go all the way up there and defend my cat. My poor cat shouldn't be in this scenario. I hope the cat's okay. I haven't seen it yet this morning. But I don't know. This situation is a little different. It is a little different. I do think she went too far. Elizabeth's like, "Your neighbor kicks cats?" No. I sure hope not. Nathan C. with an update says there are 27 states that allow permitless concealed carry. Some at 18 and some at 21. So basically more than half of the states in the U.S. Now realize this is not population-based, because if you look at the major population centers, most of those areas, if you're on the East Coast or on the West Coast, do not allow this permitless carry. But as far as just number of states, most of them allow people to carry without a permit. So as long as you're legally allowed to own a firearm, you can carry one. And there are still restrictions, and they vary from state to state. For instance, you can't carry it into a post office. That's a federal building where they don't allow you to carry. You can't carry it in some states into a school. In Utah, teachers can carry a concealed weapon in their classroom. And you just have to know the rules and how they differ from place to place. I know I'm going to get some remarks on that one. But self-defense is very complicated. You can't just say, "Well, she started it, therefore guilty." Excessive force for citizen arrest. Where were we this morning in the trial? Just jumped on. We're on day, what is this, day 4 or part 4 of the trial? It's been a little bit slow. It had a slow start. It was supposed to start early this week with jury deliberation or jury selection, and it took like 2.5 days to seat a jury. And then the process has been a little slower than anticipated as well. So we're still in the state's case in chief. We have witnesses throughout today. Most of them will involve some sort of technology where video is being played or audio is being played or some sort of electronic display is happening. And then we know we have at least one witness on Monday for the state. At that point, the state's anticipated to rest. Defense might make some motions for directed verdict, and then they go into their presentation. I don't know if the defendants can take the stand. That's usually a last-minute decision. Okay. And I'm waiting on this. From what I've seen, I don't know enough information to make a decision on this for myself. We've heard testimony that she practically had her shirt ripped off her, and so much that she had to go put on a shirt out of her car just to stay modest after this altercation. If she went up and was trying to stop the guy and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" You know, and even if she's yelling, "Get out of the car! Get out of the blanking car!" Whatever, you know, you crash into people, you're going to kill somebody. Even at that point, I don't see that breaking the law. I see it being stupid. I see it putting yourself in a situation where you don't know exactly how it's going to turn out. It could be dangerous. But if she did that and that's her intent, that's what she's trying to do. I don't believe she was initially, from what I've heard, I don't think she just showed up, drew her gun, and said, "Hey, I'm going to end this here. You know, I've judged you, and we're gonna sentence you and execute you right here." I don't think that was how it went down. I think it was more a verbal altercation, trying to get him to stop and get out of the car, which I don't think was illegal at that point. Possibly. I mean, she is charged with unlawful detainment, right? And that's where she pulled in front of the truck. So at that point, is that illegal, or is it only unlawful detainment because of what she did next? We'll have to look up unlawful detainment in Georgia. Let me do a quick Google for this one. A person commits the offense of false imprisonment when, in the violation of the personal liberty of another, so in the violation of the personal liberty of another, he arrests, confines, or detains such person without legal authority. A person convicted of the offense of false imprisonment shall be punished by imprisonment for not less than 1 nor more than 10 years. What is a defense? What is a defense to unlawful detainment? Just 1 second here. Georgia. Okay, I mean, some people can do this. Like Georgia recognizes the right of a shop owner to protect himself from shoplifting by detaining a customer who's acted in a suspicious manner. The right of action for false imprisonment accrues at time of release from imprisonment. Okay. Statute of limitations. No false imprisonment when detained pursuant to a valid warrant. That wasn't the case here. I think the judge is coming back. We're about to begin. Official immunity for police. Warrantless detention by private person amounts to false imprisonment unless it comes with a certain specific exceptions. Citizen's arrest lawful when probable cause exists. When a private citizen has probable cause to believe an offense is being committed in one's presence, it is lawful to arrest so long as to defeat an allegation of, so as to defeat the allegation of false imprisonment. So she had to have, you know, a private person, probable cause. To sustain the action for false imprisonment, it's not necessary to show malice, but only essential to show the imprisonment was unlawful. The court has no authority to direct a verdict unless the case is very plain. It means it has to be blatant for the court to do a directed verdict on a false imprisonment charge. Man, lots of stuff. Citizens arrest law was changed in 2021 to restrict it to off-duty LEO and business owner guard when witness theft. So, K-Rob, it sounds like the laws, particularly that apply to this case, have changed a lot. We're looking at the current law. I mean, so what as it is right now may not be as it is being tried in court, because she has. Speaking of which, where's our defendant? Has anyone seen Mr. Farag? Let's do a quick check for Mr. Farag. Still don't have him. It would be the law in effect at the time of the incident. That is correct. Habitually late. They said 10:45, right? Just got in. What's going on? The judge took a 25-minute break. We're about to cross-examine the witness. The witness was a driver of a vehicle. He's a semi-truck driver, but he's not the one who got hit. He was a driver that was driving by the altercation, pulled out his phone, and filmed some of the altercation as it happened. Matthew Harris is here. Just caught the morning intro. Loving the shirt. Yes, I'm wearing Matthew Harris's shirt. Thank you so much for many kind words. My heart grew 3 sizes today. Maybe, it could be perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. Matthew Harris, for those that don't know, put out an amazing video yesterday that you can find right here on his channel that teaches you all about watching true crime. It's just like a primer for watching true crime with friends. And the friends part is where he comes in and shouts out the channel and recommends you come here. Thank you very much for the shout out, Matthew. It was awesome. And that video, honestly, it is the best video. It is so good. If any of you are in here saying, I'm trying to watch court, but I don't understand, you need to watch this video. You need to watch this latest video. Go over there, subscribe to Matthew Harris's channel, take the daily quiz, because that'll help you pass the bar exam if you ever so choose to do so, and watch that video and give him a thumbs up. So what if the shirt's torn? He can resist with force. Charlotte, right, he can, and he could be all defensive, but the problem is we don't have good evidence yet as to what actually happened. If she went up there and said, "Sir, stop, I've been following you for miles. You know you hit a truck back there," and he grabs her And he's like, you quit telling me what I did or didn't do. I don't know. I'm putting words in his mouth. Obviously, none of us know what happened there. But if she approaches him legally, even confronts him legally, now we've got the issue of the unlawful detainment that we'll have to look at. But it's possible that she might have been in the right where she observed a crime happen in her presence, and she's trying to do this. So she may have grounds for that citizen's arrest. If she goes up there and does that, and he attacks her as she's saying, "You need to stop. You need to get out of the car," even if she's using expletives and yelling at him and things like that, as long as she is not starting the altercation, then she may be in the right to defend herself. And whether or not that rises to the level of her being able to use deadly force is still up in the air. But I'm waiting for more evidence. I'm hoping there's more, because I don't think it's clear yet. Defense is very disrespectful, says JPC. I will say the defense is a bulldog, and he chases the rabbit until he catches it. And he doesn't do so gently. He's gonna get to the point he wants to get to. The video shows the shooting, doesn't it? L Diamonds, it should. We believe the video was occurring during the time the shooting happened, but he was driving by, and it may not have been captured on the video. We haven't seen screenshots of that moment. We've only seen those 2 screenshots from the video, but I believe they've been shown in court. Maybe they have more information than we do. Valerie C says, or the shirt got caught on the door and tore, and she just covered up with with the hoodie. Lauren Farmer, the crime has to be a felony. This wasn't a felony. That's Lauren. Yes, if she's drawing the gun because he left the scene of a crime, left the scene of an accident, 100%. But if she's drawing the firearm because she's being assaulted, then it's possible, and we just don't know yet what happened right there. Why did the judge leave? Don't know. Todd, who that? Clement says, just subscribe to Matthew Harris Law. Thank you very much. Do you think that the defendant pulled a Farag? No, I hope not anyway. Was the defense attorney late today? He was, but his stuff was already in there, so he was there, and then he probably went out to use the restroom or something, and was just a minute or two late. It wasn't an issue. It wasn't a big issue. I 100%, who says this? She should have walked away. Listen to learn. I agree. There are so many ways this should have been handled better than it was. And I believe if it was handled better, that all the participants would be present still today, which is a win in my book. D-Frey says, so many states have different laws. I think they should all be the same. So you're not big on the idea of federalism, where each state has their own control. This discussion was carried out many years ago, when the Constitution was being worked on, and there were people who strongly felt similar to that there should be more broad laws that cover everything on a federal level. K-Rab says, I doubt the prosecutor would have charged her with false imprisonment if she had grounds to stop him. Did K-Rab, let me go back. Lauren, are you referring to it has to be a felony? It wasn't a felony. Did it have to be a felony for her to do a citizen's arrest? Is that where you're getting at? Let me see. I'm gonna go back and read that. I think that might have been what you're getting at there, and I apologize if I missed that. Critical Thinking says, I think she got caught up in the moment of hype and made a very bad decision. I do believe her emotions escalated a great deal. First of all, anytime for those by show of hands, how many of you have arrived at an accident or watched an accident happen? I will tell you, witnessing an accident is almost surreal, because you see it happen and it's so quick and then it's over, and you're saying, did I just see what happened? And you're trying to put it together in your head, because it's not something you see every day. In your mind, you see a car traveling through the intersection, you assume it's going to continue traveling through the intersection. You don't assume it's going to be hit broadside and flip up in the air and smoke and glass and radiator fluid and noise and and bouncing. It's just, you don't expect to see an accident. And it's a rush. I mean, a lot of people will have a huge adrenaline burst. Or go into shock, just like I can't process what just happened. It's just, and you're looking at where the cars ended up, and like, how did they end up here from what I just watched? I imagine that to some extent, Hannah probably had that sort of feeling. She's like, I just watched an accident. Holy cow! This guy just came out of nowhere, just T-boned this truck, and now he's walking around, and now he's leaving. This is crazy, and it started there. And escalated as the further she went following him. She shouldn't have followed. She was told not to follow. The further she went following, it probably gave her no chance to reset and calm down and do, think rationally through some things. Doesn't she still have to be reasonable? Yes. If he fought against her, he'd also have to be reasonable. I just don't see her behavior as reasonable, but I'll try to keep an open mind. I'm trying as well. Let's see. Lowell says, I have to agree. It would be terrifying to have someone charge up on you with a gun in hand. Okay, I agree. But I think we have enough evidence that we've seen, especially in this video form, that the gun was in the holster first, and that she went up there and interacted with him with the gun in the holster, and later it was drawn. So that the running up with the gun that was testified to by the first witness, what was her name? Was that Terry Robinson? I think it was Terry Robinson. Or no, Tiana. That might have been Tiana McCraney. That, I think, was wrong. I think she remembers incorrectly on that one. Hit and run leaving the scene of an accident can be a felony. Does it have to have a certain amount of property damage, or is all leaving the scene of an accident a felony? Defense attorney was spotted at airport short-term parking for some reason. Ed, you're funny. Let's see. Kenneth says, defend herself. That's a stretch from what I've heard so far. I agree, Kenneth, but I'm keeping an open mind, because all we've heard from is the state, and the state's not going to present evidence that will make the defendant look good. That's not their job. They're going to present the evidence that makes her look guilty. I'm just saying, in what I've seen, there is still room, if we get evidence about it, to show that something else occurred that would change the scenario a little bit. So we're going to have to hear the defense side, hopefully. I mean, they don't have the duty to testify, but to me, there's still space in there that if it went right now for me to the jury, there's room for reasonable doubt as to exactly what happened. We've got conflicting witnesses saying different things happened. We've got witnesses saying it happened at different places. So we know it didn't. It happened in one place, but their memory is different enough that I say, if they can't remember where it's at, is there something else that they've testified to that might not also be exactly as it occurred? And I've got to just leave it hanging out there. Kurt, I owe you a message here. Just 1 second. Where's uncivil law? I'm not sure if he's still in chat. We're going to follow this trial till break at the end of day, which is probably going to be about 5 p.m. I know you had you mentioned you had something you might be coming up that we might transition to or send people over to. Magical Mary says, hit and run in Georgia can be a misdemeanor or a felony. No, judge is coming back. Nope. Yes. She has her phone.
Okay, are we ready to proceed?
Your Honor, approach briefly.
Okay.
We just had a 35-minute break, roughly, that was supposed to be 20 minutes or 25 minutes, and the defendant was late coming back, and now here we have an approach. We should keep track of their breaks. They don't seem to make a good time. Melstar, that is a funny idea. To run a running clock, a stopwatch on how many breaks we've had, and see how many hours are spent in break. Living Ghost says, this trial has one of the worst cases of court time I have seen. I will say that the judge is very respectful and allows, gives a lot of leeway. So finish this witness and then a 2-hour lunch. That's pretty much how it rolls. Defendant is here. I wonder if there's been a development that needs to be brought up. That jury needs crossword puzzles and snacks in the break room. Ivan says, Payne was granted a $100,000 bail, which was revoked when new charges were filed. She was then granted $320,000 bail, which she paid, 10% in $32,000. What does she do for a living? I don't know. She was driving like a Jeep Commander or something. It's a really nice vehicle that she was in. She might have money. She might be from a family that has money. But let's see. There's Kurt.
Okay.
We'll take care of that while I take care of the other next.
Okay, all right. So I'm just going to inform our witness. Mr. Williams, there's a request to refresh your memory about your interview with the police officers, and so we're not going to continue with your testimony at this juncture. In terms of cross-examination. So an investigator from the DA's office is going to take you back there so that you can refresh your memory about the interview, and then we're going to bring you back for cross-examine to occur. Yes? Okay. Thank you so much. So you may step down.
What? He's mid-testimony. They're ready to wrap and hand it over to the cross-examination. And they say, wait, now we'd like to remind him of some things. Let's show him a little bit about what he seems to have forgotten. And then he can testify to that, and then we'll turn it over.
Okay, the state may call its next, well, let me bring the jurors in. Mr. Innes, yes, bring the jurors in, please.
Okay, this seems wrong. Tayo Joyce did clip the reaction. Thanks, Tayo. This little-known legal maneuver is known as a whoopsie-daisy. Whoopsie-daisy. So a witness was not prepared. I've never seen this happen before. I've seen it happen on the stand, where we're going to refresh a witness's recollection by presenting something and they can read through. But here, they're taking them off the stand. The prosecution is going to meet with the witness on their own, mid-testimony. He's sworn in.
And
then he's going to come back and testify some more.
What is occurring at the point that we we went for break, we had one witness, Mr. Williams here, and Attorney Tucker was about to cross-examine. We're going to bring him back for the cross-examination, but we're going to go ahead and take another witness at this time, just to keep you informed of what is occurring. Okay, Chief Assistant, you may proceed. You may come up.
The state calls Christine Lavoie.
Okay, if the defense requested
You
it.
would, thank you. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you will give before the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can take your hand down and have a seat and get situated, please. And if you would please introduce yourself to the jurors.
My name is Christine Lavoie, Christine Lavoie.
And how are you employed?
I'm employed at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Division of Forensic Science.
And what is your job description?
I'm a forensic DNA analyst.
What is your educational background for that position?
I have a Bachelor of Science in Microbiology from Mississippi University for Women, and I also have a Master of Science with a concentration in Biochemistry from Mississippi State University.
And once you received your degrees, do you also receive training from the GBI itself?
Yes, when I was hired by GBI, I underwent a year-long training program, which consisted of written, oral, and practical exams, and a competency exam.
And do you receive continuing education and training at the GBI?
Yes, I do, every year.
And tell the jury a little bit about your experience and your caseload as it relates to forensic biology.
So I'm a forensic DNA analyst, so I'm assigned DNA cases each month to test.
And approximately how many DNA cases have you tested over the course of your experience?
About 1,200 cases.
And how long have you been with the GBI?
Almost 9 years.
And have you previously testified to your results and your findings?
I have.
And have you previously been tendered as an expert?
Yes.
Here in Georgia?
Yes.
And at this time, the state would tender Ms. Lavoie as an expert in forensic DNA analysis.
And after that impressive background, no objection.
After that impressive background, no objection.
She's as an expert in forensic DNA.
Can somebody go back and tell me if the defense requested that refresher or the state?
About what is DNA?
Did you say?
DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It's the genetic blueprint that makes us who we are. We get half from our mother and half from our father, and it's unique to each individual, with the exception being identical twins.
And where in the body, or in what substances, where can DNA be found?
DNA can be found in all nucleated cells, so it can be found in your blood, semen, saliva, and skin cells.
And you may have already answered this question, but what makes it valuable for identification purposes?
It can uniquely identify an individual.
What are the general steps and procedures involved in the DNA testing process?
The DNA typing process is a multi-step process. The first step is called extraction. This is where we take a cutting of the evidence item, place it into a test tube. Into that test tube, we'll add chemicals that will break open the cells and release any DNA. Then we determine how much DNA is present. Then we make multiple copies of specific regions of the DNA. And then we place it onto a genetic analyzer, which will separate the DNA based upon size and detect it. And from that, we would get a DNA profile, and we would compare that DNA profile to any reference samples.
And are all DNA testing results peer-reviewed?
Yes.
And what does that mean?
It means another analyst will look at all of my worksheets, my data, and they will draw their own conclusions and ensure that they agree with my findings.
And so every DNA report and every DNA conclusion is peer-reviewed?
Yes.
The procedures that you just described with the extraction, isolation, the quantification, amplification, and the typing, are all of those procedures generally accepted in the scientific community?
Yes.
Are those procedures reliable and reproducible?
Yes.
And are they based on valid scientific theory?
Yes.
And in this particular case, did you follow the procedures in an acceptable manner?
I did.
We're going to have to look for possibilities on this
As
one. What's included and what's not
case,
included.
Did the crime
What's
lab
included and what's
receive...
excluded.
Y'all differ. Are you buccal or buccal?
Buccal.
You call them buccal swabs. Okay. Did you receive buccal swabs of the defendant in this case?
I did.
And did they appear to be properly sealed?
Yes.
And was there any evidence of tampering?
No.
I'm going to just show you what has been admitted as State's Exhibit number 5.
So maybe the state is required to correct his testimony.
Number 5, any indication that you received or opened or processed the swabs that are contained therein?
Yes.
And where is that?
My initials.
And that would be, for the record, under the number 5, but upside down, and you see the CL. Is it H or A?
CA.
CAL and a date. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Lauren. You've been providing great information. I appreciate all of it. Thank you.
In this specific case, did the GBI Crime Lab conduct testing on swabs that were obtained from the ridged area of a firearm used in this case?
Yes.
Okay. So kind of explain what your role was as it relates to this case.
So I performed the DNA extraction, and then I determined if there was a sufficient amount of DNA to move to the amplification step to try to get a DNA profile, and there was a sufficient amount. So I was able to generate a DNA profile.
From the swabs from the gun, is that correct?
Correct.
And when you talk about the ridged area of the slide of the gun, can you kind of generally where that is on the firearm?
It's the top portion of the firearm.
And so when you were asked to perform the extraction and the other steps that you just described on the swabs from the firearm, what did you locate? Did you locate a profile?
Yes.
Okay. What were your results?
So I obtained a mixture from those swabbings, and a mixture just means that there's more than one person present. And that mixture was too complex for me as a human analyst to interpret. So it was forwarded to something called TrueLil, which is a software program we use for mixtures, and another analyst would have performed that analysis.
And even though there was a mixture, were you able to tell how many profiles you believed were there?
When I visually looked at the mixture, there were at least 3 individuals.
And were you able to make any determinations about the major contributor on those 3 profiles?
So I was able to get a major female contributor from that mixture.
And kind of describe for the jury what that a major versus a minor contributor, what you do with those.
So the major contributor is the person who contributes more DNA, and the minors contribute less.
And this might sound like a weird question, but does that, if you're the major versus the minor, does that have any bearing on how much they may have touched the item or anything like that, or is it just related to how much DNA they left?
It is possible that they could have touched that item more.
The major?
Correct.
And you indicated that you forwarded the profiles that you received for a different type of analysis. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did you conduct that analysis?
No.
So the extraction of the profile from the swabs of the firearm and determining that there's a mixture, that's the extent of your work in this case. Is that correct?
Correct.
No further questions?
That's one of the quickest DNA testimonies I've ever heard, and no probabilities.
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you ever see the end results of what, when you sent it off to the TrueLil to do the testing, did you ever see the end results?
No.
Okay. So you're going off what you initially saw before you send it off to be tested by another means of testing, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you said that there was a major contributor that was female.
Correct.
And was there, from what you could see before it was sent off, was there a minor contributor of a male?
There was.
Was there another minor contributor of another male DNA?
There was another minor contributor. I don't know if it was male.
Okay, but there was one that did classify as male.
Correct.
And do you know, and it was just basically from a swab, so you don't know where from the gun that DNA was taken?
From the slide area.
The sliding area. So the minor contributor that was male.
I'm sorry. The mixture that I obtained came from the slide area.
Okay, so it's fair to say that there was a major contributor on the slide and then a minor contributor on the slide, and one was female and one was male, correct?
Correct.
And then you weren't sure where the other contributor had come from, correct?
It would also come from the slide. Only the slide was swapped.
Okay, so the trigger was never tested?
That's correct.
Okay, and you didn't see the end results, so you can't really testify to that, can you?
That's correct.
No further questions.
Any redirect?
There's going to be more DNA testing.
May this witness step down and be excused?
Because she sent it off to be tested, right?
Slip away.
Case calls Cynthia Segan.
Okay, Christine Love, quickest DNA analyst we've ever heard on the stand. That was quick. Filler whoopsie witness is no more. Cynthia Segan is heading up. Probably some additional testimony from lab work. Corey, I bet she was nervous, but she probably did a great job. Ohio, again, the slide, Ohio Gin, the slide is the top portion of the firearm. If you imagine if this were a firearm, the slide is the top part that slides back
or affirm the
and
testimony
cycles
before the court
when it shoots, pops back and feeds the next round in.
I do. You can take your hand down and have a seat. And once you're situated, if you would please introduce yourself to the jury.
Yes, my name is Cynthia Seguin. That is CynthIaSeguin.
And how are you employed?
I am employed with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Division of Forensic Sciences. I am currently the Southwest Regional Crime Laboratory Assistant Manager, and my specialty is forensic biology.
And so Southwest Lab, that means you're in Moultrie right now?
I am in Moultrie.
Were you employed, how long have you been with the GBI?
18 and a half years.
And back in 2020, you were with the GBI?
Yes.
And where were you?
I was at the headquarters laboratory in Decatur as an assistant manager in the forensic biology section.
And being in the forensic biology section, what specifically is your job description?
Okay. I receive evidence from state and local agencies to look for the presence of bodily fluids, mainly blood, semen, saliva, and I perform DNA analysis on those items. I issue reports and testify in court.
And what is your educational background to hold that job?
I have a Bachelor's of Science degree in biology from Georgia State University, and then I received extensive training from the GBI in the detection of bodily fluids and DNA analysis. That included working with mock samples to simulate casework and oral and practical exams.
And you also receive continuing education and training. Have you received that throughout the time at the crime lab?
Yes, we are required to get at least 8 hours of continuing education in the DNA field.
And what is your experience as far as your caseload? Approximately how many DNA typing and comparison analyses have you done?
Oh,
y'all always love that question.
I lost count. Probably about 10 years ago, I hit about 1,000, so several thousand cases.
And have you testified in court regarding your results previously?
Yes, I have.
And have you been tendered as an expert?
Every time, yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would tender Ms. Seguin as an expert in forensic biology and forensic DNA analysis.
No objection.
So admitted.
In your position at the crime lab, have you had the occasion to conduct what is known as true allele analysis?
Yes, I have.
Okay, I'm going to spell out true allele for our court reporter. It's one word, capital TRU, capital ALLELE. Did you receive training on how to conduct that particular analysis?
Yes, I did. I was actually part of the team that brought true allele analysis into the GBI, set up all the policies and procedures, and then I've actually also trained other analysts in performing true allele analysis.
And have you testified to true allele results in the past?
Yes, I have.
All right, so we've talked about it. What is it? What is true allele?
Okay. So true allele is just a computer software system that helps us analyze complex mixtures that we're not able to separate into the contributors of that mixture by hand.
And so if there's more than one profile on a particular swab or on a particular item, sometimes the profiles can become too mixed up to separate.
Yes, so a lot of DNA just gives us a single person's profile, and we're able to do a direct comparison to known reference samples. When we have two people's DNA, we have a mixture. Some mixtures we're able to actually separate into a major contributor and a minor contributor, but once we start getting multiple individuals or certain other types of mixtures, we're not able to separate them out manually, and we use this computer software to help us do that.
And what does the software do? What does it help us do versus a traditional comparison?
So it's going to try to determine what are the best explanations for the data, what DNA that's in that mixture is most likely to be contributed by the major person and to a minor person, and then it compares those explanations that it made to DNA reference samples, and it tells us how more or less likely that person is a contributor to that mixture than an unrelated person in the population.
So it's comparing it to how likely it is that this person is more so than a random person in the population.
Yes.
Okay. Are all DNA results, including the true allele results, peer-reviewed?
Yes, they are.
Are the procedures that you just described for true allele, are they accepted in the scientific community?
Yes, they are.
Have they been accepted here in courts in Georgia?
Yes, they have.
Are the procedures reliable and the results reproducible?
Yes, they are.
And are the procedures based on valid scientific theory?
Yes, they are.
And in this particular case, did you follow the procedures in an acceptable manner?
Yes, I did.
In this case, what was processed using the true allele system?
Okay, I had DNA data that was already processed by Ms. Lavoie that was obtained from the swabs from the ridged areas of the slide from gun.
And did you also have known DNA samples from two individuals to compare?
Yes, I did.
And would those two individuals be Kenneth Herring and the defendant Hannah Payne?
Yes.
Why did this case qualify for true allele analysis?
This was a mixture of at least 3 individuals, and so therefore it was automatically sent to true allele.
And what can you tell us about the 3 contributors as far as how many major, how many minor, and the gender?
There was at least 1 male, and there was a major female contributor.
And what were your results of the true allele analysis in this case?
Okay, so first a match was identified between that DNA data from the swabs of the ridged area of the slide from gun and Hannah Payne. A match between that DNA data and Hannah Payne is approximately 300 sextillion times more probable than a coincidental match to an unrelated person in the population.
And y'all, you know exactly what question I'm asking next. How many zeros are in 30 sextillion?
I believe it's 24.
Okay. And there's not even that many people on the planet?
No. There's about 8 billion people, and a billion has 9 zeros, and a sextillion, like I said, has at least 24 zeros.
So the major profile that was female, you did the true allele results to Hannah Payne?
That is correct.
What, if anything, was your result when you compared the minor profiles to the known samples?
So when I was comparing it now to Kenneth Herring, I got inconclusive results because I did not get meaningful match statistics, which just means that the comparison to Kenneth Herring put us in our inconclusive range in our statistics.
And why would there be an inconclusive range? Tell us about that.
So when we were doing our analyses to introduce true allele into the laboratory, we were looking to make sure that all the people we made mixtures, and we made sure that all of the people who were supposed to be in the mixtures were included, and all the people who were supposed to be excluded were excluded. We did have a range of statistics where we were not having those true contributors show into the mixture, or those true exclusions show into the mixture, and so we call that range our inconclusive range, and we're not able to say whether or not a person is or is not a part of that mixture.
So you can't say that Mr. Herring did touch the gun, and you can't say he didn't?
That is correct.
But you can say that Hannah Payne's DNA was there?
Yes.
That's all I have to.
Any cross-examination?
Examiner Seguin?
Seguin.
Seguin, okay. So when you're doing these testing and it was sent off, you weren't present when it was tested, correct?
I did not do the original DNA testing, that is correct.
But you did receive the results, and you're obviously very capable of reading those results. And you said that there was a major and then a minor. The major was female and the minor was male, correct?
There was at least a major female and at least a minor male, yes.
And these were all on top of the slide, correct?
From where that description is, the ridged areas of the slide from the gun.
Okay. Now, does this analysis actually try to test to see if the one DNA is on top of the other, or does it not get that detailed?
We're not able to determine that. It just all gets mixed together.
Okay. And in this mixture, you said it was inconclusive, which means you can't rule out that it was Mr. Herring's DNA, but you can't confirm with, say, 24 zeros that it was him, correct?
Yeah, I cannot say whether or not his DNA was or was not present on the gun.
And a major contributor would be somebody who's possibly handled the gun before. How many times does it? And I know if you can't answer, please just let me know. But a major would be somebody who has, handled it a couple of times, like taking it off and putting it down or holding it.
Yes, the more somebody handles something, the more their DNA is going to be left behind.
Okay. And then a minor could be somebody that briefly grabs it and then it would leave DNA on it.
Yes.
And that's the DNA and kind of what the conclusion you came to from these analysis?
I don't really have any conclusion about who grabbed it for any amount of time. I just know that Hannah Payne was the major contributor on the gun, and I did not get conclusive results for Kenneth Herring.
Okay. So you can't, and I'm not sure what this machine does, but you can't say conclusively that the male DNA was on top of or the minor was on top of the major.
That is not something we can do at all.
It's just kind of a blend.
Yeah.
So two DNAs were blended on the top, or possibly three.
Yeah, actually three DNA, all blended together on that part of the slide. Yes.
And a third DNA probably could have been recognized by being handed the gun, briefly holding it, or.
Yes, anybody who had previous contact with the gun could have left their DNA behind. Yes.
No further questions.
Any redirects from the state?
Just briefly. And that could be any males that you couldn't conclusively say that it's Kenneth Herring's male DNA. It could be any other males that touched the firearm as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything further?
Yes, it's right. But it was concluded that it was two separate male DNAs.
I know that there's at least a major female and at least one minor male. That's all I'm able to determine from the DNA.
Okay, but you said there was possibly another male DNA, which would be categorized as minor?
So there is a third profile there. I can't say if that third profile is the one that is contributing the male DNA. All I know is there's a major female because that shows the most DNA, and at least one of the two minor contributors is a male. That's all I can say at that point.
Because you didn't have a swab to compare the two minor males, you just came with there's one female, one male, and possibly a third.
Correct.
No further questions.
Does the state have any other questions for this witness?
Please.
Yes, she may be excused. Thank you.
Cross and redirect generally get narrower and narrower in scope. Usually cross initially is long, and then if there's a redirect and recross, its scope is limited to a specific area.
Okay.
It's like a funnel. It gets smaller and smaller. Looks like the Georgia hoodie is representing. They're in the courtroom. I think we're waiting for the next witness. DA just went out.
Okay, that's the witness that we have available for cross-examination.
Okay. Do you have another witness, or you're going to have to wait for him to complete
I
review?
have very lengthy witnesses remaining, so I would ask that we finish Mr. Williams prior to the
Okay.
And we request the second round.
Okay, so we'll just wait for him to be brought into the chamber. Okay.
We got another break, you guys, because our witness, the one that is being refreshed, so he's getting to reread his notes, possibly watch video if there was a videoed interview or something. What was him? That was Cameron Williams, the truck driver who filmed. He's not quite ready to be cross-examined yet. I'm just going to put this out there. I'm guessing it's going to be spicy. Now I realize his video is going to stand on its own because that, it's you can't impeach the video very well, right? But his testimony about what he observed as it happened, because the video might not show everything very well. What he observed might be very different. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. Nope, that's a bailiff. Bummer. So we'll see. The refresh isn't quick. It's not instantaneous. It's what is it? It's like a reverse Men in Black, right? They flash the light, and now I remember. Nah. Let's see. Stay tuned on this witness. It's gonna. You don't want to miss the second half. I'm excited to hear what happened and maybe hear a description of why or who requested the refresh. Oh, Judge Carroll would have required closing arguments if there's been this long of a pause. If you don't have anything to say in this long, we should be done with the trial. Roll Tide, says Carroll. Maybe he has Alzheimer's. It could happen. The witness, I don't think there's any indication that he does. So we are waiting for our recollection refresher. I'm going to go ahead and pin this one because he should be the next witness in. Might just be a couple minutes. Betty shouted something. Judy, he said he testified that while he was filming, he said something like, hey, it's just another day in Georgia. Yeah, I just read into his body language as it came through the door right there. That he's not looking forward to this. I think this might be interesting.
Okay, Mr. Williams, you were previously sworn, so Attorney Tucker has the opportunity to cross-examine you at this time.
Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. How are you doing? Well, my name is Matt Tucker. I'm the attorney for Ms. Payne. I appreciate you taking your time to be here today. Now, the clip that we saw was very quick, correct? Correct. Did you see what ensued before you videotaped?
Just a lot of arguing, yelling back and forth in the intersection.
Okay, and you saw that by the time you were there, the two cars, had they already collided, or did it appear it collided?
Yes.
Okay. And you said that you kind of veered to the left and was driving by him, correct?
Yes.
So that lane of traffic was kind of clear. You could go to the left and just continue on?
Like I stated earlier, I actually drove around a couple people to get through the intersection. I was running late for a class.
So did you find it was fairly easy to kind of just go around them?
In a way, after driving around a couple people, yes.
Okay, and there was no kind of cars blocking you from being able to go around them?
No.
Okay. Now, that video was kind of quick, so I have some more still pictures to have you identify, if you don't mind.
All right.
If I may approach Your Honor.
Yes, you may.
So he was in a hurry. He couldn't wait for traffic. He drove over on the shoulder. Probably drove over the same median.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was explaining to him that my 14 doesn't really look like a 14, but I wanted to establish that 14 is where we start. Everything else is a chronological order.
Okay, you can just explain that out loud.
Okay. So as I stood there and explained to you that the first one starts at 14 and then goes in chronological order. Do you see those pictures?
I do.
And are they a fair and accurate representation of what you recorded on that day?
Yes, sir.
They're no way hindered in any way or altered or a misrepresentation of what your video showed?
I recorded these.
Okay. At this time, Your Honor, I would like to tender defense exhibit number 14 to number 22.
Any objection from the
I would just like there's clarification because he indicated they've not been altered in any way, and one of them is very clearly zoomed in. So I just want that clarification to be made. I don't have an objection to the photographs being tendered, but I want it to be made clear that one of them is that's altered, but it's certainly zoomed in.
Okay, and the record will reflect that. Your response?
I don't think he's gotten to it yet. When he does, he can make that observation.
Okay.
But otherwise, the state does not object to the admission of the documents, of the photographs.
So I've admitted without objection. That's exhibit 14.
Thanks. And if I may publish them to the jury.
You may approach.
Haven't seen that. Kind of refresh remember what was going on so quickly.
I mean, I remember the video fine. I'm kind of confused on when the pictures are. It's the same thing I've been looking at.
So, but these are fair and accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So at the beginning, when you were pulling up.
Nice tie.
So as you were pulling up on the scene, maybe it's a better.
Please let us see these. Please, please, please show us the pictures.
Is that a better view? Okay. Okay, as you pull out the scene, that would be a shot that you took of your camera from the front of your vehicle, correct? Through the windshield?
Correct.
Okay,
Show
and
us
you
the
said at
pictures.
that time you saw them struggling, you heard them yelling. Is that a fair, accurate
Yes, there was definitely an argument and a tussle.
Do you see the vehicles, where they're positioned?
Yes.
And where they're positioned, does it appear that they have collided?
It may look like that.
But you weren't present when that occurred, correct?
I didn't see how they got to that point, no. I wasn't there for that.
But, so it's fair to say when you came into where it is that you can see right through that point?
When I approached them, she was already out of her vehicle at his door.
And I'll like toss it back to you. As you refreshed your interview with your memory with the interview with the police officers later on, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall telling them that she was at the window, banging on the window with the gun?
Yes.
Okay. And at one point you even said that it appeared that he and her were struggling over the gun, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Would this be a picture that depicts when you saw them struggling over the gun? Or is it just the whole struggle was so quick?
I think you show other pictures in that pile that could be a little bit more clear.
Okay.
Let's see this one.
I might approach your Honor.
Yes, you may.
You'd like to pull out which one?
The fact that they were struggling over the gun does not make her right. Does not make her right. She has to have to be in the right to draw the firearm.
That may be the best one that he has.
Is there another one that might help show that picture?
I mean, out of these photos, that may be the best one that you have. But there's definitely a tussle when I approached them.
I approach her.
Yes.
Now you say that may be the best depiction of them struggling over the gun, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you saw the Miss Payne on her tippy toes right there, correct?
I mean, that's the only picture I'm looking at.
Okay. And it appears that her left shoulder of her shirt is being pulled, correct?
I don't know if I can necessarily say that.
Okay. Did you see Miss Payne's shirt that day?
I mean, I honestly wasn't paying any mind to her clothing.
Okay, but you did see it after the incident?
Honestly, so after the gunshot went off, I actually went to go check on the gentleman in the truck. I wasn't worried about Miss Payne.
And in this defense exhibit number 16, from what you see there, does it appear that the shirt is being pulled on the left shoulder?
I see them both tussling. That's what I see.
And
the shirt.
17, does that help give a better picture of a possible pulling of the shirt?
Judge, I'm not trying to be difficult, but he's trying to get him to say something that he has very clearly indicated that's not what he sees. He can't say that.
I'm putting a brand new picture in front of him to help refresh his memory. Either he sees it or he doesn't.
And I'm going to sustain the objection. I think what you're trying to do is to get him to say something, and he's already clear in his response. So I'm going to sustain the objection.
In this tussle that you saw, it appeared both parties were pulling and tugging on each other.
Yes.
And you said at one point it appeared they were pulling and tugging on the gun.
At first, I originally didn't see the gun. After I watched the video several times, is when I kind of came to that conclusion.
And that is what you told the police in your interview, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And during this period of time, did you see anything else in her hand?
No.
Did you see something that was close by to her on the ground?
Nope.
Okay. And if I may, this was the picture that was zoomed in on. So you see, that's a fair and accurate representation of what you videotaped, correct?
Yes, I remember her picking up the shell casing during this.
Now, zooming in on that right there, and that being basically the same picture, just zoomed in a little bit better, correct?
Okay.
All right. Do you see what's there at her feet?
No, I do not. I don't know what that is.
Okay. Is it fair to say during the video that it appears she's picking up something right there?
Yes, she picked up a shell casing.
Okay. And is this a continuation of the video that appears what she picked up is in her hand?
Okay.
Does that appear to be a shell casing?
I believe the shell casing was picked up in the video. I think these photographs are one, real blurred, and then two, you wouldn't be able to see a shell casing through these photographs anyway.
And so you're not familiar if she picked up a phone or a shell casing?
I'm not saying that she didn't.
Oh, I'm just saying, you're saying you don't know what she picked up?
No. I mean, to my knowledge, she picked up the shell casing from the video that I seen. And I'm not saying that she didn't drop her phone, but you know.
But you did not see when the phone, how it got to the ground?
No, I wasn't even paying attention to it, honestly. Never thought about it.
And you say she picks up the shell casing because you didn't see what was picked up?
When I watched the video for myself, and I've seen it a million times, it looks like she picked up a shell casing.
Okay. And how many shots were fired?
One.
So there's only one shell casing that she picked up, correct?
Correct.
And during this interview with the police, do you recall telling them that she asked you to stay by to tell the police what happened?
Correct, she did.
And she was asking basically for your assistant to give a accurate depiction of what happened?
Yes.
Okay.
She, when I got out of the car to go check on a gentleman, she asked me, did I see what happened? Could I be a witness?
And she didn't seem to be wanting to run or to
No,
get away?
not at all.
Okay. And you say later on when the police arrived, they walked up to her, she pulled the gun off her hip and handed it to the officer?
She cooperated.
Okay. Was he a male officer?
Yes.
And he didn't have any gloves when he took the gun, did he?
I'm not sure.
So you can't say if he had gloves or not?
I can't recall.
Okay. But he did take the gun?
Yeah, she cooperated with the officers.
And he was a male officer that took the gun?
Yes.
Now, also in your interview, you said when they were tussling around, you could hear what they were saying back and forth, correct?
No, I did not say that. I could hear Miss Payne. I couldn't hear the other gentleman. I could hear her just yelling "stop," and I'm assuming that she was yelling "stop" over their tussle, but I don't have anything else.
So you heard her say "stop." You were yelling.
Yeah, I heard her yelling. Yes.
Okay, but you're not sure what she was yelling "stop" about?
Not sure at all.
But the tussle was continuing to ensue when she was screaming "stop."
Yes, sir.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Any redirect for this witness?
Nothing further to state, Judge.
Okay. May this witness be excused?
Interesting.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
While driving by, being able to pick out that she's picking up a shell casing off the ground.
Does the state have another witness that it intends to call before lunch, or is this a good time to
This is a great time to break so that we don't have to immediately stop their testimony in the middle or in the beginning.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now 11:50. I am going to go ahead and give you a lunch break. I will ask that you report back by 1 o'clock this afternoon so that we can.
When are we going to break for
forward
lunch,
with our
Judge?
case. As always, the instructions that I've given to you still apply. Hope you'll have a good lunch, and we'll see you back out tomorrow. Thank you.
It seems like we just got here because we've been taking breaks all morning long. Many breaks. This is going to be a short court case. Honestly, we're probably only expecting about a week or so, week and a half maybe. So yeah, we have a lot of breaks, but there isn't a lot left. We have a couple witnesses. I think they're more lengthy witnesses, 1 or 2 left today, and at least 1 on Monday for the state. Then we switch to defense. I don't think defense has a lot of witnesses. I don't think you're going to hear a lot. We might hear from the defendant in this one. We might. I'm still not sure if she should or shouldn't, but we'll see. I will say. Oh, hang on. Do we have more?
Counsels, can you approach, please?
Oh, they're going to approach again. Let's see what's happening. Focus. Focus is hard, guys. Focus is hard. They finally got the focus after all that, but court's going to be back at 1 p.m. Is that what they said, 1 p.m.? So an hour and 10 minutes. Bit of a shorter lunch today, right? Matthew Harris says, Recovery Addict, as a court watcher, I'm annoyed by the breaks. As an attorney, I don't mind the breaks because I'm getting paid by the hour, whether we're on break or not. Yeah. That's awesome. Ms. Holmes, 66, says, I think Hannah needs to testify. I will tell you that there's some parts of this altercation, of this exchange, this interaction, that only she saw. There's a lot of assumption. There's a lot of people saying, well, I assume, she was yelling, stop. I can assume she was saying about this. It's the fact what happened between her and the defendant, only she knows. And she might be able to get up and testify. Remember the last time we had a self-defense trial where the defendant got up and testified. Well, not the last one, because I think that was Aaron Dean, and he was found guilty. But before that, we had Dean Cummings in Arizona, that did get up and testify. And I said, this is a terrible idea. Dean, don't do it. And he got up there, and he was absolutely stellar, absolutely amazing.
Court stands recessed until 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it. So we're gonna take a break and go to lunch for a while. I will tell you that tonight my wife and I are headed on a little bit of a date. So right about the time court ends, I'm going to be out of here, dressing up, looking snazzy. No pickle tie this time. I'm going to go a little better. So that's going to be tonight. I think we might. I'm checking with Kurt. I think he's planned on doing something tonight to go over some of the Maya documents, these latest Maya documents, which are a doozy. The SS allegations. Absolutely crazy. New Mexico case, Dean Cummings, and he was fantastic. I agree. She needs to testify here. Here's what I think. The reason I'm leaning towards her testifying is because she seems to be very involved in her case right now. That she has a lot to do with it. She's very detail oriented, and when cross-examination is done, the lawyer comes back. He's like, "Did I miss anything?" She's like, "Yeah, ask about this and ask about this." So I think she's mentally. I think she's prepared to testify. Somebody's calling in. Let's see who it is.
Call from Christine Papalato.
Hello, Christine. This is Recovery Addict. How are you doing?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm doing just great. How's your...
I just have...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
I was going to ask you what you're going to have for lunch, but you talk first, and I'll ask you about lunch later.
Not lunch right now. I'm going to get my hair done.
Oh, okay.
I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When that gentleman was on just the most recent witness, the state had brought up right away about him having a DUI, and if they could kind of wipe that away for him testifying in so many words.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why the defense didn't say anything to the witness about that?
Probably because he's like, look, the police, you guys need me, and I've got this thing. Can we work a deal? He did cooperate. He didn't hold out the video. He didn't offer it at the time. That's not how things work. But I don't think they need to impeach him. Because he's not the witness. He is a witness, but he's not. They don't have to discredit what he's saying. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of what he saw helped the defense. His testimony helped, so they don't want to discredit him on this front. They want the jury to think this is a good witness. He saw the struggle. He said important things. He said they tussled over the gun. They were fighting over the gun. That's important to the defendant's case.
But here's the thing I'm asking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I was going to testify for you, hypothetically,
mm-hmm.
and you were going to promise me possibly $5,000, I'm going to try to answer to the best of my ability so that I get that $5,000 from you.
Sounds like we're both going to prison. Just kidding. I can't pay for any testimony, I don't think, unless I'm an expert witness, maybe, or you're an expert witness.
Right. There was something in it for him, I guess.
It's a give and take. I don't know. I was half listening and half on the phone with my real estate agent or my insurance agent at the time. So I didn't. I'll have to go back and listen to that and see if there was something there that catch my attention. I think he wanted a deal. It's like sometimes people that film something like a traffic accident or something, they call the news and like, hey, I've got the video. I'll sell it to you for $5,000. And the news is like, you realize unless you have a congressman engaging in a felony on that video, you're not going to get anything from us, and even if you do, it might be $50. So a lot of times people have an expectation that what they have is very valuable to other parties, and really it turns out that it's just not. It's not how it works that way, and with the law, definitely.
Okay, and then one other question: is the defense lawyer paid, or is he
we could probably dig into the documents and find out. Maybe we could stick a document hound on that. I think he is hired. I don't think he's a court appointed. And the reason I say that is because the defendant is out on a huge bond. Huge. I think she put up like $32,000 or something, $22,000 to $32,000 on a $320,000 bond. So a $250,000 bond. She's out on bond. Takes a lot to scrounge that sort of money together, and for a week trial like this, I think they probably hired an attorney. I think she has the money.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, and
not a problem. Great questions. Yep. Have fun getting your hair done.
Thank you.
We need a picture afterwards.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll see you.
Have a great day.
Yep. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. With that said, we're going to wrap up and go to lunch. This is a fun case. Objections wise, we're only up to 15. Let's see, where are we at? 15 objections. There we go. Let's see. Off to run errands and grab a bite. See y'all at 1. We'll be back at 1. We'll be back 15 minutes early. So give us 45 minutes, and we'll be back from lunch and be ready to pick up with part 5 of this trial. All right. I think I was watching Cummings over on Law Talk with Mike. I found R.A. during the Matthew Terry case. Cummings was the guy, the friends, the land deal in Arizona. They had ARs. He was cleaning the AR. He brought it in. He was staying the night. The homeowner showed up. They were drunk. There was a struggle. Firearm in the house. It took hours for the police to arrive. Lots of stuff wasn't tested. It was crazy. It was good. Matthew Harris, thank you for the kind words. As always, you're phenomenal. I do recommend anybody who has not seen the video that we talked about this morning to go over to Matthew Harris's channel here on Lunch and take a look at that. It's the latest video. He dropped it yesterday. It's about 10 minutes long. It's worth the watch. It's worth the watch. It might explain a lot of things that don't make sense or that you've always had questions about. I think you're going to love it. I think we're going to use that and show that at the beginning of the next trial, just to get people who are new to court watching up to speed on how things work. It's amazing. All right, beginner's guide to watching true crime trials. Thank you for putting the link right there, Matthew. That's the video. You just click that link right now, and you can do it right now. It's all right. You don't have to hear the outro, because all I'm going to say anyway is tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live again at 1 p.m. Or sorry, 12:45. So in 45 minutes. Have a good lunch. We'll see you back here. Be kind to each other. Thanks a lot. We'll see you.